With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Ever witnessed someone so fast on track you doubt you could ever be on their level? The mission of Advanced Motorsports is to demonstrate the speed is achievable for everyone. With the expertise of some of the best sim drivers in North America, we are set to release free content on social media and comprehensive guides on our website. For those seeking the ultimate experience, our Advanced Motorsport Institute and personalized coaching sessions are the way to go. No matter your level of experience, we invite you to follow us on our social media to learn to be fast.
Ready to start another great race in the Precision Racing League. Green flag flies, we're underway. Side by side, door to door contact. Incredible action here in the PRL. And they come together. After all the fighting, it ends in tears.
Laguna, Jamaica. Ooh, I want to take it. Don't worry, I won't do the whole thing. Welcome back to the Precision Racing League on Monday night. We've got another pair of prototype multi-class events for you as we get very, very close to the end of the season. The penultimate round, round 8 for the LMP3-GT4 Challenge and the GTP-LMP2 series coming up a little bit later. My name is Joey Tebben, back with you here in the booth alongside Derek Watson, and behind the scenes, as usual, is our producer Dustin Allis. But Derek, today we kick it off in the deserts of California, in the Bay Area. It is Laguna Seca time. We were here last week in the upper class series and the bigger prototypes. Now it's time for LMP3 and GT4 to take on the Corkscrew.
I see all this, I guess what I now learned to be dirt. Joey, what I thought was sand for a long time, and I can think of Bermuda, Bahama, but now we're here at Laguna Seca, indeed, to battle the Corkscrew for the LMP3s and GT4s. It's the penultimate race of this season. Next week, we finish it off at Spa on Monday, May 27th. And Joey, the points battles, there's still a bit of a battle for the lead.
Still a bit of a battle indeed. Jason Drescher still leads your championship in the LMP3 driver's standings with 5 wins in 7 races, but it is not an insurmountable lead. He had a bad round 4. He had to use that as his drop week. Vincent LaRue has been fairly consistent. He's still within 20 points. Chase Wilson is still there. Eric Leroy is still there. And Doug Sorrentino is still within mathematical contention as well. The big number you're going to be looking for this week is 56 points. You need to be within 56 points of Jason Drescher if you want a shot at the championship next week. So everybody down to Doug Sorrentino is still in mathematical contention right now. They might not be if Drescher's able to pick up another win today, so keep that number in mind. In the team's championship standings, though, math is a little bit more complicated. It's not complicated at the top of the order, though. Grant's Garage with Jason Drescher and Ian Starker, very, very strong all season. Very strong last couple of races, especially for Ian Starker, and a 122-point lead. That's not insurmountable mathematically, but it's very unlikely to be beaten by Throttle Thursday, who has had a strong season in their own right, by the Rob Clark crew with their black and red teams. The Moradness M squad, great start to the season, but unfortunately a little bit thinner in terms of the drivers on that team who have been showing up nowadays. And Tabula Rasa Esport, great season so far for Vincent LaRue. Unfortunately, not so great and part-time for some of the other entries who may or may not exist, who have added 40 extra points to that total somehow. I don't know how that math works out. I'll have to figure that out. But the Championship Racing Collective with Chase Wilson, Sim Total Racers, Turn 1 and Done, YS Motorsports round out the top 10 there. And then we get to GT4, which is going to be another very, very close championship. Adam Brockway, he's down for the count, unfortunately, after a DNF and a DNS last week. He's also missing this week, but Aiden Young's going to be here. Arnaud Gené's going to be here. Floyd Kerr's going to be here. Ted Lowendick's not going to be here, but those top three, Derek, they're ready to fight for the rest of the season.
Yeah, they are. You said that magical number of 56. So this is still very wide open here with Aiden Young, Arnaud Gené, Floyd Kerr. Even technically back, Michael Terrafino could race his way up into that, but that's going to be an uphill battle the whole way through. But let's take a look at those team standings for GT4 and see where they stand right now as they flip over on our screen. Hyperion has a bit of a lead, 34 points, in fact, over Miracle Flow Misfits. Then it's Beware Stewards driving pretty far back at 475. It's more than my commentator Matt can do, Joey, but I know it's pretty far back. And they got Moradness M Squad, Team Beef, Fiercely Forward, and on back from there. So this really is a two-way battle between Hyperion and Miracle Flow.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Miracle Flow Misfits tonight, though, they will have two drivers. They will have Adam Ostrich and Doug Evans out there, but Ted Lowendick, unfortunately, out for this week. He's always a big point scorer for them. That could hurt them a little bit because I believe Hyperion are back in full competition. Kerr's here, Schroll's here, and the rest of the fellows over there. So we'll see how that ends up working out. But qualifying is currently underway here at Laguna Seca. And before we can take you into that, because we do so desperately want to do that, we'll thank all the people who make this possible here in the PRL. Starting with Advanced Sim Racing. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. All PRL members get a 5% discount on ASR products using the Precision5 coupon code. Racebox offers mid and high-end button boxes for sim racing enthusiasts, from the casual gamer up to the most meticulous sim racing driver. Competitively priced and carefully handcrafted, their button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. Visit RaceSpotTV.com and also get a 5% discount, also using the Precision5 coupon code. This coverage is also brought to you by The Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker products add incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat with The Butt Kicker. Moradness is a performance lifestyle brand motivated by motorsport and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. For more information, visit moradness.com. Mr. Hedge iRacing Photography. Capture your finest, proudest, or simply worst moments from your hobby in up to 8K resolution. A great addition to any sim room. And last but not least, Advanced Motorsports. Get ready to learn to be fast with Advanced Motorsports. Follow them on their socials to become a better driver. Thanks to all of those folks for keeping our books above water. And now it's finally time to get into qualifying here at Laguna Seca. About 2 minutes 40 left on the clock, so not much time to get laps in. It is solo qualifying. You do only have a prescribed number of laps to go out there, but I believe there will be one more for Vincent LaRue here. He's going to bring it to the line, see if he can improve from 8th right now. Is Vincent able to hop up the order at all? Looks like the answer is no. Gained a 10th, didn't gain any positions, and look who's on pole. Christian Garatone for the first time this season looks to start from P1. Arnaud Gené currently sitting on pole in GT4. That could be big for his championship challenge. Aiden Young has won 6 out of the last 7 races in this class, Derek, but Arnaud is looking to break that up.
Yeah, and the reason why that's so important, Joey, is because there are the bonus points involved for getting the pole here in the PRL. So Arnaud could start the day basically up, points on Aiden Young, and then let the race, sort itself out from there. But here's Nathan Jennings here, part of Big Fast Racing, currently in P11 back in GT4 class, getting ready to kill that lap. So we'll go over to Chase Wilson. Chase out up the hill here. I think everyone's done. I think we're just down into practicing, Joey. I think we're all just sort of practicing the corkscrew. That's not how you take that. I can tell you that right there. You want to stay on the track if at all possible. Here's Doug Evans, by the way.
Yeah, Doug does have one more lap in the tank, a little bit wide on the exit of turn 1, clips the desiccated dirt just a little bit. Very wide there, though, and unfortunately, Derek, even if he did have this one lap to use, he's not going to be able to use it anymore. A little bit too wide, and that's going to be the end of Doug's qualifying session.
I'm a little surprised Doug didn't finish it through, Joey. I mean, with all due respect, even if it's on a qualifying lap, sometimes practice laps help. But hey, this is a track that we've all seen about 142 times, so there's a lot of driver familiarity comes here. It almost feels like the biggest thing to practice here is pit exit and pit entrance, and I'm sure we'll see that come into play. Yeah, all day long.
Even the biggest of the pros, Derek. Remember Romain Grosjean a couple of years ago here in the pace car before the IndyCar race. They were just filming a YouTube video. Totally missed pit entry. Rammed it into the tires and destroyed a Honda Civic, so definitely want to practice that. We did see the purple Aston Martin of Callan Tobin doing that a couple of moments ago, so good for him to get that practice in, and good for us to get that practice in, Derek, because after a couple of seasons of seeing Mr. Tobin, we've finally been corrected. It's not Callan Tobin, it's Callan Tobin, so we got to remember that somehow.
Yeah, we will, and that's important for all drivers to know that if we do, if you want us to say your name correctly, sometimes we don't know. So feel free to contact someone and say so. But here we go. Let's look at the grid, Joey, and see who got the pole.
And the pole sitter today, it's not Jason Drescher for once in this series. Christian Garatone will start from P1 for the first time this season. Mr. Jason Drescher, your championship leader, will start alongside him in P2. Then Eric Leroy from the Moradness M squad, good qualifying from him in P3. Nick Taylor from the Rob Clark crew rounds out the top 4. Ian Starker, another great qualifying from him. He's had a hot run at the end of this season. He starts P5. And Mikey Smith, another Rob Clark driver, starts alongside him on row number 3. Calvin Myant will be P7 alongside Vincent LaRue, a little bit lower than we normally see Vincent. He's going to be looking to drive his way forward through the field. Chase Wilson and Greg Doucette bring us down to the end of the top 10. And Ryan Kings, for the first time this season, is finally on the grid. He'll be starting P11 at the end of the field. I believe there will be a few other LMP3 drivers. We'll look down the order here. David Steveson is here. Doug Sorrentino is here. Sean Mulholland is here, theoretically. And Samuel Ma is also here. So 15 drivers in LMP3 this week. You look for all of them. Arnaud Genet, though, big qualifying from him in that Porsche, trying to keep himself in the championship hunt with Aiden Young, and he'll start from pole for the second time this season. Aiden Young will start alongside him, though. 3/10 off. That's a big number. Aiden's going to be hunting him down, looking for his 7th win in a row. Michael Tarafino starts P3 in the Team Beef Mercedes, and the first of the Hyperion drivers, Floyd Kerr, will start alongside him in his Porsche. Turner Schroll, technically in a different Hyperion team, so not going to score the same team points as Floyd Kerr. Nathan Deering will, though, in the Hyperion Racing number 24. He'll be fighting for the lead of the team's championship. Callan Tobin in the Aston Martin starts P7 alongside the Flying Ostrich Adam Ostrich, former Supreme Court Justice William Brennan, and Barry Sessoms round out the top 10. Nathan Jennings is the lead Jennings in his number 4 Mercedes. Roy Brown finishes off the Team Beef cars at the end of the top dozen. Unlucky 13th went to Doug Evans. We might be talking to him tonight. We'll see. He starts alongside the second Jennings. Will Jennings, Robert McGeehan, going to be lighting the chat on fire with the last qualifying time on the board. James O'Brien in his Porsche starts P16. No qualifying lap for him, as is tradition. And Jordan Branch rounds out the GT4 field in P17. No stragglers, that is the full grid. 32 total cars, Derek, preparing to take on what is a fairly short track for multi-class racing standards.
Yeah, I think we've had this talk already this season, and we saw it last week with the GTPs and LMP2s, but there won't be very much silence here on this track. You won't get very many moments of going to have clean air racing by yourself. You're always going to have someone around you, someone next to you, behind you, in front of you, possibly, dive bombing you, anything you can think of. I mean, the closest that we'll have of separation will be this right here, where the grids are separate to start the race, Joey, but it's going to be a very, very busy 35 minutes.
You know, while we do have a moment here on the GT4 grid, I mentioned we might get to talk to Doug Evans during the race. He's never done that before, so he's a little inexperienced, so I say to wade him in, Derek. let's take a quick chat to Doug Evans here on the grid, as we do have a full pace lap. Doug Evans, welcome to the booth for the first time. I decided I'll wade you in a little bit. I'll let you do it on the pace lap where it's likely you won't crash. How are you feeling ahead of the start here?
I appreciate that. I'm feeling I'll just be out here for a Sunday drive and hopefully stay out of everybody's way and hope for attrition.
I mean, yeah, that's what we're all hoping for here, but you're in a very important position today because you got no Ted. It's just you and the flying ostrich, Adam Ostrich. You got to hold up your team in the team's championship today. Is that extra pressure?
I will do my best for Ted.
There you go. It's almost like Ted's dead. He will be back next week, theoretically, but we won't be seeing him this week. We'll see you a little bit later, Doug. Good luck, and hopefully we'll see you on the other side.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thanks for broadcasting.
Mr. Douglas Evans. We'll drop him back in his little cubby, Derek, and I don't know, he sounds pretty confident, and he goes in with that same mindset every week. Hope for attrition, hope for a good result, and just try and keep it on the road.
And sometimes that's the key to victory in a lot of ways, is really just kind of letting the race happen around you. You don't need to make everything happen. You just sort of let things happen and then deal with the outcome of it. So now we come down that infamous corkscrew for the LMP3s. And look at the gap here if the camera stays here. I guess not. You'll see how big a gap it is here to the GT4s. It's pretty big. In fact, the GT4s, I think, have a difficult starting point here, Joey, with where they're going to start compared to the overall race.
Remember, they take the green flag simultaneously to the LMP3s, but coming through the final corner, very, very tight final corner. Have to make sure not to make any contact, have to make sure to keep things pointed straight. But now on the front straight, Christian Garatone takes control of the field and takes the green flag. We're racing at Laguna Seca. Eric Leroy, an instant jump from him to slot in line ahead of Jason Drescher. He's going to take P2 into turn 1. Arnaud Genet, though, on the right side of your screen, Derek, the pole sitter in GT4. Michael Terrafino's off as well, but the pole sitter's around before the first lap has even begun.
Well, that's big news and great news for Aiden Young, because right now Arnaud Genet was supposed to let them around, and then instead he did not. He got spun in what's going to be the final corner of the track. Is Mac moving again here? See on the right side of your screen, they're all going through that big wide corner here, setting it up. On the left side of your screen, meanwhile, it's all single file as far as I can tell, at least a few spots deep with the LMP3s. And other than that one incident, Joey, good news, it's all pretty much clean racing.
But that is high drama. We're going to break out the carousel of entertainment as soon as we can to see what happened to Arnaud Genet, but there's still more pressing action on the right side of your screen. Callan Tobin and the third of the Hyperion drivers. I believe that's Nathan Deering in the third Porsche. Side by side coming up the hill, side by side into turn 6. Mikey Smith is around in the meantime. Nathan Deering's going to hold on. Nathan Jennings almost spins it up through turn 6. We haven't even gotten to the corkscrew yet, Derek, and we've already had chaos and drama like almost no other race, as Adam Ostrich side by side with one of the Hyperion drivers down the hill.
Oh my gosh, I thought they were going to take each other out through the corkscrew there, Joey. They were that close, and luckily he backed out of it and got moving here. But man, look how close that battle is. Look at the ticker on the left side of your screen. It's for both, but we're looking at the bottom half, the blue half at the moment, where you see all these GT4s coming together, and Aiden Young just wants to hold on here and pull away and not be part of this chaos.
Ooh, a little bit of a missed braking zone there from Adam Ostrich. Clipped the dirt a little bit on the outside. Very, very lucky not to slam into the back of William Brennan. And now he's got Barry Sessoms all over the back of him in the number 505. Coming into turn 1. Can Barry make it happen the long way around? Not quite. Gets a little bit into the rear end of Adam Ostrich.
A little bit of the old classic NASCAR bump and run almost there on Adam Ostrich is what almost happened, but got it backed up and everything's good here. You see that's the side of Ostrich's car right there. Oh, there's some big smoke. I don't know what caused that, but that was a big sudden moment. Now down to the corkscrew. Everyone looks okay, but I saw some smoke, I thought, before that.
There was definitely a little bit of smoke, but there was a change for second. There's Nathan Jennings going around. I believe that's on the exit of turn 4. He gets it back going again. Doesn't look to be any real damage on that car. There could be damage here, as that was almost 3 wide. Ryan King's going for a little bit of off-roading, ahead of Greg Doucette, ahead of Doug Sorrentino. This is all for the last spots in the top 10.
Man, you saw Doucette not only getting in the dirt or there a turn or two ago, so I'm locking up those tires really hard through the final corner, so that big puff of smoke come off of him, and he's getting run down very quickly here. And now he's going to try to dive it in there, and it backs out of things better. But I thought he was going to try to dive in on Kings really quick there.
Gets to the outside of Kings, though. Coming into turn 3, it's tough to make it work the long way around there, and Doucette does have to slot in line. It is very good to see Ryan Kings back, though. When I saw him signed up at the start of the season, Ryan Kings is always a driver you look for to be very, very fast, to be fighting for wins. Was so strong in the MX-5s for so long, but only going to be seeing him on a part-time basis this season. With the addition of MX-5 and GR86's next season, though, I feel like we'll be seeing a lot more of him, and we're certainly seeing a lot of him here, trying to defend from Greg Doucette. Throws it off the road in turn 6, though, and finally opens the door for Greg to get in there.
So Greg's now getting in there, and he'll have the inside preferred line through the corkscrew here. He'll take it.
Oh, spins it!
Oh, contact behind him.
Nick Taylor involved. Both of them are in the wall. I think Kings was able to make it through cleanly, but there may have been one other driver involved. Oh dear, Samuel Ma gets through. He gets a free spot out of that. Doug Sorrentino survives, but it's so hard to run side by side through the corkscrew, Derek, and that was a perfect example of it. And now Aiden Young and Floyd Kerr, they're not going to be close enough to do it this time, but Floyd is certainly on the attack.
Floyd is right here, just making his presence known, just sort of letting him say, hey, I'm here, you know, I'm going to put the pressure on, I'm not going to bump you, not going to touch you. But right there, he is all over Aiden Young.
The carousel of entertainment is about to begin because we had so much drama on lap 1. We've got to go before lap 1 even started. Coming through the final corner, before we even took the green flag, Aiden Young and Janae came together there, Derek.
And there's a car. Then it's Terrafino way wide there, I believe.
Yeah, Michael Terrafino around the wide line.
Got tapped in the back corner by Aiden Young to that last corner and sort of stopped and waited and is now moving again. So there's your first replay and our first bit of contact. So Arnaud went from now doing the first to last challenge, if you will.
And that may be reviewed by the stewards. It won't be reviewed by Arnaud because he has to take himself out of any investigation that involves him. But that was a dive into the final corner, and that was contact, potentially caused by Aiden Young, turning around his championship rival. There could be a points penalty that comes from that, Derek. The stewards will investigate that after the race if it's reported.
Yeah, I mean, they will investigate it. I mean, I'll be honest, I think Aiden got a little deep in the corner and got a little excited and definitely made the contact. So how they look at it, you know, could mean something in the points. It may not. We'll have to wait and see post-race what that comes out to be here. But yeah, that could be impactful depending on what happens in this race and our outlook for next week. So let's take a look at Mikey Smith here. This is also lap 1, Joey.
Coming down into the corkscrew, everything looked okay, but then through the second half of the corkscrew, cold tires, Derek, and it loops around on him.
Funny, because I thought before the corkscrew he got a little bit of assistance. Let me even call tap going into the corkscrew, but he really lost it on the exit of the corkscrew. So that just really is a picture-perfect moment of how difficult this corkscrew is. It looks hard, but it's way harder than it looks.
Barry Sessoms, he's having such a hard time. He's lost behind the WeatherTech sign. We finally get pictures of him, and he's got to wait for the entire field to come by, unfortunately. He was having a good start. He was getting aggressive. We saw him and William Brennan going at it, but unfortunately, all the way to the back of the GT4 field goes Barry Sessoms, and all the way to the front of the field in LMP3, Derek. This lap is so short that your race leader, Christian Garatone, has already caught the end of the GT4 field.
He almost caught more than that, Joey, because I already thought for sure there was going to be contact there between your race leader and...
No!
What is contact?
The back that goes around out of the final corner. I don't know if there was contact or if that was just clipping the dirt, but from one of his best positions of the season, from P5, you see the LED screen on the side of his car going down. It's going to be P7, P8, now P9 as Samuel Ma gets by.
On by, he'll have the run. We'll wait and see if Starker has damage or how much damage. We'll see how the car drives here.
And we have a new leader. Jason Drescher gets by Christian Garatone, very far off the road. Traffic, for the first time, has not been Christian Garatone's friend.
Well, you've heard a pass in the grass. Well, there was a pass in the dirt. It looked like we came back to that shot where Drescher's got on by here. Now is ahead by over a lot over Garatone here. So we'll wait and see how that all turns out. There's one more in the dirt.
And he's off again. This is the endless cycle that happens sometimes. You make one mistake and it really starts to add up. Eric Leroy trying to make it happen around the outside very late in the breaks into the corkscrew. He's got a slot in line, though, behind Christian. And Calvin Myant will join the fray as well, fighting for his first podium, potentially. Welcome Calvin to the battle.
And the crazy moment there through the corkscrew, Joe, you saw foot come off of both sets of tires from both Garatone and Leroy. So they both wanted to have that optimal line, maybe a little too much, and luckily they both got it rolled up, because that could have been bad news on multiple levels had they not.
Doug Evans got into a little bit of trouble. Was it maybe a bad omen talking to him earlier on? I'm not sure, but Jordan Branch gets to the inside of him, turns him around through the final corner, and Arnaud Genet was right there on the scene as well to make it through. But I'm sure Doug is fairly frustrated by that. Not much you can do when there's a dive to the inside into the final corner.
You know, and there's that frustration happens a lot. It feels like a multi-class racing, because for some reason, it feels like we go through a part of every schedule where we find the tiniest tracks possible to put a multi-class race on. Let's see here. I think Doug Sorrentino's are now towed off the track, Joey, but I was saying that, let's watch Greg Doucette here for a second.
Yeah, Greg Doucette side by side with Ryan Kings. This is what we saw a little bit earlier. Doucette spins to the left, and poor old Nick Taylor did nothing wrong there, but just kind of got arm wrestled into the wall.
Yeah, and really it's because through the corkscrew.
Oh!
Hold on. Oh, man, there's a line.
I think that was James O'Brien going for a little bit of a loop-de-loop in the braking zone into the corkscrew. There's the reveal. No damage, shockingly, but that was a little bit more spectacular than James wanted.
Yeah, no physical damage. A little mental frustration probably, but no physical damage there on him. I was saying, you know, it feels like sometimes we come to the shortest tracks for these multi-class races, and Laguna Seca really is the poster child of that comment where there's just no moment of quiet. Look at that. Wilson and LaRue, both 3 wide, but Arnaud Genet has never made it through okay.
You remember when Vincent LaRue qualified a little bit deeper in the order a couple of moments ago, Derek? I was saying maybe disappointing for him to be starting so low in the field. He's normally fighting for podiums. He's survived all the drama. He's made it up about 5 spots, and look how far away he is from the podium. Basically a second and a half. He's certainly in the fight still.
It kind of comes back to that Doug Evans comment we had pre-race of, listen, let attrition happen. Let's see where we end up. Now for Doug, unfortunately, he had that moment, and it may be more difficult, but that's applying to Vincent LaRue. He just let attrition happen, let some spins happen. Going to come up through the corkscrew here, and is now going to leave Chase Wilson behind a little bit.
Doug Sorrentino has towed back to the pits. Unfortunately, his race has come to an end. He might still get a P10 for his efforts because there's 4 cars behind him out already, and he's currently getting repaired. But we'll take a look at what happened to him in a moment, because if he instantly towed back, you have to imagine it's going to be quite the incident. But it is just a huge lockup through turns 1 and 2, Derek, and that doesn't look like a huge incident. That looks like some sort of technical issue that he had to bring it back to the pits to fix.
Yeah, it looks like a hardware failure of some kind. It looked like with the way it locked up that hard, and it didn't snap to one direction or the other, but definitely looks like a hardware issue. But here's on board with Vincent LaRue, part of Tabata Rasa Esports, in that number 22 machine now coming through here.
Trying to make it around the outside of the Andretti hairpin. Very difficult to do. 2 apexes, totally flat corner, and he's got to slot back in line, but big wiggle. Big clip in the dirt and a big slide. I was going to say, though, this is a tale of 2 very different seasons. Calvin Mayant, for his own comment, has had a very good season so far. He's had some of his best races. He's had top 5s. He's never had a podium, though. Vincent LaRue's had quite a few of those. Both of them fighting for the same position now, with Eric Leroy, who's been up there all season, too.
Yeah, Vincent and I talked last night, and he kind of lamented. He's like, the best I've done so far is P2. There's only 1 spot left. And he kind of had that smile in his voice as he said it. So waiting to see if he can get there. Down through the corkscrew again. And there's Vincent. Off pace. Let Chase Wilson on by.
Very deep into the corkscrew, probably serving a slowdown with that as well. Maybe a little bit of commentator's curse there. Our apologies to Vincent, and I'm sure Vincent's apologies to himself. And it's going to be very difficult to fight for that P1 spot now, because instantly, almost, after Jason Drescher was able to take the lead from Garitone, he's pulled a 7-second lead. Here's what happened to LaRue. Classic Laguna Seca, lock up at the brakes into the corkscrew and just trying to survive the journey down through the dirt, falling about 40 feet. But look at that gap, Derek, at the top of your screen. 7 seconds between Drescher and Garitone. And Garitone was leading for the first 5 minutes of this race. That's how quickly things can swing.
And it makes me wonder if that mistake by LaRue is part of the pressure he's feeling this week, Joey. He talked about him being about 20 points back from the leader. Well, now the leader of the points is now leading the race. So he's got the bonus point for leading. Obviously he's leading, so he's getting more points than LaRue. Wonder if that move through the corkscrew was a little bit of pressure coming on, of needing to make something happen versus letting it happen. Man, there's a car through the dirt as well.
And Mikey Smith making a new Laguna Seca out there, making a Laguna Seca rallycross course as he tries to recover. That made Ian Starker's life very much easier as he tries to hold on to P7. Samuel Ma now smells blood in the water and is going to try and make an overtake for the first time today. Up through turn 6. Oh, and it's not going to happen. Big slide, big clip of the curb, 180 degrees around. Samuel Ma isn't going to lose any spots. He's the last car on the lead lap. He's the last car running in LMP3, but that's going to hurt a little bit.
Man, and that really shows just how difficult this track is. It looks pretty simple, minus the corkscrew. Just, some very basic corners, but everything about this track, from pit exit, up the run, up the hill, to the corkscrew, to down the hill, there's never a moment here where you get to stop and breathe, in my opinion. It's very, very technical all the way around this California road course. And here's a side-by-side battle. This is Branch and Will Jennings. Oh, sorry, no, this is Branch and Doug Evans. I apologize. Got the wrong name there. And Doug's now kind of on that recovery run, Joey, after that spin we saw earlier.
I'm surprised that Branch was able to make the corner. He was so much later on the brakes than Doug into the corkscrew. I thought he was sending it into the wall like we've seen so many times in the past of drivers just missing their braking point through there. But that BMW, it's got better brakes than we give it credit for. And Jordan in the 007 is able to start looking forward and potentially leave Doug in the dust.
Yeah, we'll wait and see if Jordan can make that happen down the long straightaway here into a very difficult turn 1 here. Down into turn 1 and then turn 2 course, the Andretti hairpin coming up in a moment. And both make it through okay. You see the pit exit was there on the inside of that. We'll talk about that later. But these guys right now running it pretty clean. Now, something to talk about, Joey, it's in my head. I want to put this up in your thoughts as well. Remember, it's only 13 incident points here in the PRL to get a drive-through penalty. It's only 17 to get disqualified. With all the dirt we've seen kicked up tonight, there might be a couple drivers close to that number.
Yeah, we talk about it every week. In a 35-minute race and in a 45-minute race coming up in GTP LMP2, those incident points add up very, very quickly. And we've seen that many, many times. Drivers getting heartbreaking penalties at the end of the race. Drivers even getting disqualified if they've had a bad enough time. I know I've had that experience. I've hit 17 before. But even on this lap, we've seen Jordan out there in the dirt a couple of times, and you make one bit of contact, we might see here between Nathan Jennings and Barry Sessoms, 4 incident points you especially don't want.
No, that puts you really close. That's like a third of the points you're allowed before your first penalty. So 25, almost 25% of your total points you're allowed. So, and of course, the danger of DQing, it's not that you score last, Joey. You don't score. You score nothing, as if you weren't here, and in fact, you can't drop it. So it's a bad day overall.
You saw Nathan Jennings kicking off the pit cycle. He brought it down pit lane. James O'Brien and Roy Brown, though, they're going to do their battling on the track. The private label Team Hype Porsche, the Team Beef Mercedes. 2 very different stories of the race as well. James O'Brien started from the back of the field, as he does every week in GT4. He's not focused on winning races necessarily. He's focused on building his racecraft. And he's had to move from the back even more. William Brennan and Adam Ostrich almost side-by-side through turn 6. That's very difficult to do. Ostrich bobbles. Arnaud Genet gets to the inside, and on his drive forward, Arnaud Genet's up 8 spots from getting turned around on lap 1.
Yeah, Arnaud's definitely on the move. Definitely wants to be involved in this race and see what he can make happen. Doing a pretty solid job here. Is it up 8 spots? That's impressive with that hockey uniform livery on. And then he's going to... No, he's not going to pit. I apologize. He swung it wide for a second, Joey. He faked me out.
And the flying ostrich, Adam Ostrich in tow, having a little bit of a time trying to hang on. There goes William Brennan off the road. Just as we lose sight of him, he throws it off the road, and Arnaud gets yet another spot up to P6. And I think I might have done my math incorrectly, Derek. If he was at the back of the field, he was P17. Arnaud's up 11 spots now.
Well, there you go. It's getting more credit as the night goes on, as Joey Tubbs is increasing the number here. But doing a great job.
He's up 50 spots.
Yeah, right. Oh, no, here's someone not up 50 spots. That's Calvin Myant, who is now back on course here.
Oh.
No, that car might be broken because that spun around a couple times now. It could also be that he's not no traction in that dirt, so I'm not sure which it is yet. Want to see him on the surface here, and we'll see what happens.
Oh, I don't know why he's not bringing it down pit lane. Might as well minimize his losses if he's had a couple of spins. But Calvin said, you know what, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to slot back in line here. Let's see what happened, though, Derek. I don't know if there was any damage. Little bit of a slide. That becomes a big bit of a slide as he locks it down.
No, you're right. No damage. It's just he had a hard time on that dirt getting traction under it. The way that car slid at first on the pavement, I thought maybe he'd hit something off screen, but you're right. No, there's no damage there. Just
and I appreciate producer Dustin Allis, Derek, not showing the second spin. We don't want to embarrass poor Calvin.
Yeah, you know, no need to kick someone while he's down, right?
Exactly. Don't need to kick any more dirt in his face. He's already got enough of that.
a lot of, in fact. So I wanted to ask you here, Joey, you're sort of the road course knowledge Wikipedia guy of the group. So Reese and I had a talk last week about, there's tracks in California that have the left-hand side pit road. Obviously here in Sonoma come to mind instantly. Can you name other road courses that are not, Rovals that have left-hand side pit roads?
That have left-hand side, Coda.
Okay. Willow Springs? I can't remember where Willow Springs is, right?
Yeah, that's on the left side.
There's the alternate road Atlanta pit road.
Singapore.
Okay.
I think it's just all the counterclockwise ones, though. Barry Sessoms, though, to the inside of Doug Evans out of the final corner. He's got the run. Mercedes versus Mercedes. Who's got the better straight line speed? The answer is indeed Barry Sessoms. Up through turn 1. Doug lifts off early. He knows it's not much of a fight. And book Barry Sessoms up into P14 at the very least.
I think Doug backed off thinking maybe Barry Sessoms was going to get in there a little hot and see if he could maybe pass him on back by, but Barry Sessoms hold on to it. Here comes Calvin Amaya back on through. Get that car moving around again. It's now going to pass by Doug and slot in. And he'll pass Sessoms in just a moment here. And the reason I bring it up is I think, from just driving a little bit, I have, I should say how I have, but driving more right hands than left hand pit roads, there's nothing more frustrating to me than a left hand pit road is there some contact almost and they're on through.
Barry Sessoms is getting a show. Those seagulls in the background. We're getting a heck of a show. Ian Starker kicking up some dirt. Barry Sessoms doing the same. I wish we could see live instant points. If you're an admin in a session, you can see live instant points, but unfortunately we don't have that power, so we can't keep track of that for you. But there's definitely some drivers who are going to be getting close here, and there's still 15 minutes to go. With 15 minutes to go, though, the pit cycle's kicking off. You see one of the Mercedes in the background. I believe that's Nathan Jennings, or Will Jennings, rather. No, it is Nathan Jennings. Michael Terrafino, though, more pressingly in the foreground there, in the Team Beef Mercedes. That's the first real scheduled stop of the day.
Yep, so those are going to kick off right now. And, of course, typically once one person comes out, it feels like the floodgates open and everyone sort of follows path on behind. Here's a nice three-way battle, by the way. This is for third, fourth, and fifth. This is for the podium. It's Leroy, Wilson, LaRue. Try memorizing those names in order and you'll get a little confused, but that's the way it is. Leroy, Wilson, and LaRue. And they're third, fourth, and fifth, all within about, a second and a half, maybe a second at most of each other?
At least we're not French, because if we were French, we'd be saying Le Roi and Le Ou, and I wouldn't be able to do it. I'd be swallowing my tongue.
Also, there's possibly the whole rolling of the R thing that I can't do. It's just, it would not be good news.
Garreton.
Oh, look at that. There you go.
Aiden Young down pit lane as we've got an absolute hornet's nest in this battle for third. Your GT4 leader is down pit lane, and I think some of these guys are probably wishing they were as well. And there it is. Nathan Deering says, "Get me out of this. This is awful. I'm bringing it down pit lane." Chase Wilson gets through the flying ostrich, Adam Ostrich, gives him a little bit of probably a middle finger out of the side of the cockpit. And now he's going to try and go and make the move on Eric Leroy into turn 1. He's got the draft. He's got a peek to the inside. It's not going to happen, though.
I was really surprised LaRue or one of the others didn't come down to pit road there and get out of this traffic. Sometimes clean air is dominant, and then sometimes you just make that pit decision at the last second because of the traffic ahead of you. I really thought one or two of those drivers was going to come down pit road and just get it done and out of the way, but nope, they're all here together. So we're back to Leroy, Wilson, and LaRue. That's third, fourth, and fifth. That's my attempt at rolling my R's.
You tried. You tried your best. Bad news for fans in the chat, by the way. Robert McGeehan has gotten into a little bit of trouble. He's still out on track. He's pointed it straight again, but he has lost a couple of seconds. We'll see if we can catch that when we can, but we've got more pressing things here. Callan Tobin is the next driver that Eric Leroy is going to try and pass. He's forced to the outside into the corkscrew. That's going to make his life very difficult, and he's not actually able to do it. He's got to slot back in line and loses a ton more time. Chase Wilson sends it 3 wide to the inside and takes P3.
Nice move by Chase Wilson. That was great to happen. Look at Arnaud Genet, by the way. He's got the best seat in the house of watching all this happen. He's not far behind him, trying to make a pass of his own. Nope, they're going to come down pit road together. Here's that pit entry to talk about. Look at this hard left-hand corner.
So difficult, but Callan Tobin, Arnaud Genet, both of them figure it out, and I really hope we can load up the replay of that Chase Wilson move, because that might have been the overtake of the season. That was fantastic.
That was great, wasn't it? That was a sudden and fast and very hot in the moment there. So great pass. And there's a little bit of smoke off those tires right behind here.
We do have to see the blend, though. Floyd Kerr versus Aiden Young. Is Floyd Kerr actually going to be able to jump Aiden Young and take the lead here? It is a shorter run to the inside of turn 1 for a car exiting the pits. Young's going to have higher speed. He's going to be making it around, but Floyd Kerr on exit from 3rd to 1st. Is he going to be able to do it? Yes, he is. Floyd Kerr takes the lead.
That's a beautiful move by Kerr. Got out there, got right back in, got ahead of Aiden Young, and it sort of planted his spot here. So now we'll see how this runs out here, how patient Aiden Young is, and what he can make of it as they're going to come here through about the first quarter to third of the track to start their uphill climb.
This is going to be the defensive job of Floyd Kerr's life. He's been known for an exciting finish in the PRL. I remember his first win in a GT3 car was at Road America many, many seasons ago. But while they fight at the bottom of your screen, here's that Chase Wilson move, Derek. Coming up on Callan Tobin, Leroy gets a little bit checked up, and Chase says, you know what, I'll send it 3 wide. A little bit blocked by the WeatherTech sign, but you can still see how spectacular that was.
It was a great move, wasn't it? Yeah, so I'm just excited to go for it and make it happen and get on around there. And at some point, even Leroy, I think this is the corner right here, in the final corner, got around Leroy as well. And here's another pit stop. So now we've started them in the LMP3s as well. So now pit stops are live everywhere. But here's Floyd Kerr, still leading Aiden Young. Looks like Aiden got a little loose in the back end of that car, picked up a little dirt out of that final corner.
Floyd Kerr has not yet won a race in a GT4 car in the PRL. He's only got it done in a GT3 car. He got those 2 wins a couple of seasons ago. This would be a big day for him and a big day for Hyperion Racing if he's able to hold on. But we've seen this many, many times this season. Drivers have out-qualified Aiden Young. They've even out-raced Aiden Young for a long period of time, but seemingly every single time he's able to put the pressure on, he's able to minimize mistakes, and his competitors get a little bit scared when they see that fiercely forward yellow in the mirror.
Yeah, that iconic black and yellow car comes up and gets up on you, and you get a little nervous, a little intimidated, a little frustrated. But right now, Floyd Kerr is doing a pretty good job of holding him off. You know, last week, Joe, you weren't here in our interview with Aiden Young. We had to teach him. There's a song called "Forever Young." We're trying to convince him to change the names to Aiden Young and sing it for us.
I mean, that would be pretty. If we can get that cleared, if we can get Michael Terrafino gets by Nathan Deering, but more importantly, I'm trying to remember who did "Forever Young." Was that Alphaville?
No, I'm thinking of is it the Rod Stewart version? Hold on.
He might have covered it, but I'm pretty sure it was like it's some Swedish artist.
Being the old person I am, when Aiden Young said, "Who's Rod Stewart?" I sort of was a little hurt inside.
Young hearts be free tonight. Good stuff. Welcome to the PRL Radio Hour. That's kind of my dream. If we could do a request broadcast. People can send in songs. We'll talk about them. We'll basically just do a radio show. That'll be good stuff. This is good stuff in the meantime, though. LMP3 traffic getting through on Kerr and Young. Aiden's hunting. Aiden's putting his nose where maybe it doesn't belong, but he's just letting Floyd Kerr know that he's still in this battle. He is still in this fight, and he's not going to give up. But Chase Wilson has gotten into a little bit of trouble a little bit further ahead. Remember that excellent pass he just had on Eric Leroy? He's lost all that time. 4 seconds down now, and he's far off the podium.
Yeah, pretty far off the podium. But this battle right here is going to go on for the next 8.5 minutes, I'm pretty sure. Oh, there's that Calvin Mayant right there in the background.
That's one of the Rob Clark crew drivers. Might have been Calvin Mayant, might have been Mikey Smith, but big trouble for whoever it was. LaRue's down pit lane. Wilson's down pit lane. We've almost gotten through the entirety of the LMP3 field. Look at those Hyperion drivers going at it, though. Nathan Deering and William Brennan, no team orders there. The former Supreme Court Justice himself gets through on his teammate Nathan Deering. Is he going to be able to hold it into turn 6? Yes, he is.
Now, you might think Nathan Deering had an objection to how he got raced there, but not be heard, and Willie Brennan got on by just fine for P7. They're going to race pretty hard here. I love seeing teammates race like this, Joey. It just makes it feel like the teams matter in PRL, but it's not, you know, as you said, no team orders. There's no A car, B car. These guys go for it. Man, they still are out of that corner. A little bit of closeness, but they are all over each other.
Even more dirt being kicked up. And also, if I'm not mistaken, Willie Brennan competes for Hyperion Racing. No, Nathan Deering does compete for Hyperion Racing as well. No split with the half echelon SimSport entry, but for the lead, Aiden Young gets around Floyd Kerr. Didn't see it when it happened, but it must have been finally a bobble, feeling the pressure from Young, and Aiden Young gets to retake the lead.
Wow, we'll wait and see how that happens on the replay, but There he is, Aiden Young back to the lead. And I thought the best chance he was going to have was going to be win the LMP3s for passing, but here he is coming down the straight. He's going to use Floyd Kerr for a little bit of draft. There goes an LMP3 on by. And is he going to make this the dive in turn 1?
Was it just a straightforward move? Peeks to the inside, gets Kerr a little bit wide.
Oh, that's a piercing forward move.
A little bit of contact. I don't think there was actually contact there. I think that was just Floyd ending up a little bit wide on the throttle, but that was a fiercely forward move, Derek. That was aggressive.
That was very aggressive, and of course, keep in mind, there's still that question mark over Aiden's head about, I guess, what, lap 0, you want to call it?
Yeah, lap -1.
Yeah.
He could get a points penalty. Even if he does win this race and outscore Arnaud Genet by however many points, if he loses 20 points or 15 points for avoidable contact, that'll be big. Kerr is going to try and repay the favor, though. Young squeezes him all the way to the wall. The door's open, though. He's got to give a little bit of room. And Kerr in the Porsche, is he going to be able to be a little bit later on the brakes? We know how good Aiden is into turn 1. He's not good enough this time, though. Floyd Kerr retakes the lead.
And Kerr did a great job parking it right there in front of Aiden Young, not letting the car slide way out to sort of park in front. Now Aiden's going to try to
Aiden turns him. Young turns Kerr through turn 5. Is he going to hold it up and let him back by? Is he going to do the sportsman-like thing? It looks like the answer is no. Kerr gets going again in P2. Young is now slowing down, is now giving back the spot. Very sportsman-like. Great stuff from Aiden Young. He knows he made a little bit of contact, potentially got a little bit too aggressive there, and I think he is going to give the spot back to Floyd Kerr at the bottom of your screen. Here it is up at the top. Yeah, Aiden misses the apex there. I think he knows that was totally on him.
Well, I'll tell you what, for someone who's trying to give up their spot back, I think he's just trying to keep it close, but we'll see if
there he goes.
actually gets by there. All right.
Is Floyd going to take it, though, is the question. I don't think Floyd is going to take it. He's going to run side by side down through the corkscrew. I think Aiden was trying to give it to Floyd there, and Floyd said, no, I don't want it. I want to take it for real.
I think Floyd's a little upset and said, listen, I'll take it by racing. You know, let me show you I can do it the correct way in Floyd Kerr's mind. So we'll see what here. And right here we come down to the final corner. This would be really a repeat of a couple laps ago. Kerr all over the back bumper of Aiden Young. Let's watch it live here down the front straight. Kerr's going to set up with a little bit of draft. He'll get here. And see if he now dives in turn 1, Joey.
How aggressive can Floyd get? We know he can be late in the brakes. Very close to the rear bumper of Aiden Young. Not able to open the door this time, though. And I can tell you, no matter what order these two finish in, I think it's going to be a very interesting pair of interviews to finish off the show tonight. By the way, as we've been watching this, the pit cycle for LMP3 is concluded. Nothing of substance has changed. Jason Drescher's still your leader. Christian Garatone's still second. Eric Leroy hanging onto the podium there. If that gets a little bit spicy, we will take you back there, but we can't take you away from this. The battle for the win, the battle for Floyd Kerr's first win in so many seasons, and trying to end the streak of Aiden Young. We do have a double battle, though, because Hyperion Racing has been giving us all the entertainment today. Brennan and Deering still going at it for 7th as their teammate tries to go for full glory for the lead into the corkscrew.
And Floyd Kerr, I think he's driving a little upset, honestly, Joey. He's probably a little frustrated by some of the contact that happened, by some of the blocking that's happened, as he just looks to be all over the back end of Aiden Young. I don't think he'll do anything aggressive, as in he's not going to touch him, he's not going to spin him, but he's definitely driving angry, as some people would say.
Might even rattle his cage. By the way, Vincent Leroux has spun out of P4. He's not going to be in contention for P3. We won't have to take you to that battle anymore because it's simply not happening. This battle will definitely be happening, though. That Porsche has a little bit of straight line speed. It might not have the grunt of the Mercedes, but Floyd has been able to keep very, very close into turn 1. He's been able to have a shot nearly every lap, and again, peeks a nose to the inside. Isn't able to make the move, though. He needs to get that little bit closer out of the final corner if he wants to make this happen for the lead.
Well, it's sort of fitting you use the term rattle his cage.
Oh, and there goes Turner Schroll off the road. Arnaud Genet sweeps by and takes the podium.
That's Samuel Ma, I believe, in the background there in the prototype, but we'll keep here.
Floyd Kerr to the outside, into turn 7. The outside was very dangerous for him last time, but this time Young gives him room, and this time it's clean. Floyd Kerr retakes the lead.
Sort of fitting to use the term rattle his cage earlier, Joey, because all I can think of is back to what Floyd Kerr was just trying to intimidate Aiden Young, which, of course, for those non-NASCAR fans is the old Dale Earnhardt reference. But let's see here what's going to happen down to the corkscrew. Aiden Young stays off of his back bumper. Both are clean, and both live to fight through another corkscrew.
This is how it happened. Coming into turn 5. Oh, Jason Drescher coming through in the LMP3 car. That's what opened the door. And coming into, or that was coming through turn 4. Now coming in through turn 5. As simple as that, Derek. Multi-class traffic. Sometimes it takes a lot away from you. And sometimes, if you're Floyd Kerr, it gives you a little bit of a gift.
It gives you everything, doesn't it? Yes. The beauty or the frustration, depending on whose point of view you are, on multi-class racing and how it works out here. But right now, Floyd Kerr doing a great job. Aiden Young way outside through this corner here. And no, Kerr's going to keep leading it, but Aiden Young, not for lack of effort.
And this battle has been so exciting that the clock has been ticking down under our noses. A minute left. This is the second to last lap for these guys. So if you want to make this move, you don't have much time to do it. But now things are even, I think, Derek. Aiden Young did everything he could to give the position back. He's now actually lost the position that he got by making contact. Does he have an open door to go for the move again? Is he going to allow himself to win this race?
Well, my question would be, after the contact on lap 0, then the contact with Floyd Kerr, is Aiden Young just more cautious? Is he not going to be as aggressive as he wants to be? Because now he knows he sort of has 2 different ticks under his name, you know, in this race.
Into the corkscrew. He's not even within touching distance. Might even be thinking about incident points here. Might be on a knife's edge of getting a penalty, and he might have to kind of conserve himself a little bit and just try and bring it to the end of the race. But as they bring it to the line this time, I don't know where Jason Drescher is, but I think this may be the white flag. It is the white flag. Jason Drescher's taking the white flag. We'll take you up to him in a couple of moments, but it is officially the white flag for this battle. And if Aiden Young wants to take the lead back, if he wants to win his 7th race in a row, turn 1 might be his last chance, Derek.
Well, let's see what he does. We saw him make the dive in the turn 1 earlier. He's looking to set it up here. Wants to go wide again. Second lap in a row, we've seen him trying to take that turn wide through this corner. And again, it does not work out.
Got a couple of more corners where you can potentially make it happen, but turn 1 is the highest percentage move and the lowest likelihood of making contact, of sending yourself off the road. He might get a little bit of help behind. Eric Leroy's coming through. Chase Wilson might play a role as well. But at the bottom of your screen, how things can change, Derek. It started in qualifying. Christian Garatone, fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying, looked almost untouchable, but a little mistake in traffic puts him on the back foot, and unfortunately after his first pole in 2 years, it's all gone wrong for Christian Garatone. It's all gone right for Jason Drescher, though, and through the final corner, a totally dominant season for Jason Drescher is almost going to be concluded with the championship. He's got one more race to do it. At the top of your screen, Aiden Young sends it on Floyd Kerr in the corkscrew, isn't able to make it happen. Jason Drescher wins at the bottom of your screen. It's not over, though, at the top, Derek. Aiden Young might have one more chance into the final corner to see if he can make this happen. Kerr over the curb. Young's committed. I think he's a little bit too far back to go for a dive, or not. He says, absolutely not. I'm going for it again, just like I did on Arnaud Genet on the pace lap. Doesn't work out for him, though. And after the battle of the season, maybe the battle of the year, Floyd Kerr wins for the first time in a GT4 car.
Wow, that was close. And I thought Chase Wilson almost put the order back where it was by no fault of his own. But man, what a great battle between Young and Kerr to finish this out.
There were a couple of LMP3 cars having a little bit of a moment in the exit of turn 1. They were stuck together. They were doing things we might not be allowed to show on broadcasts, so I don't know what was going on back there. But what we do know is Floyd Kerr, in the most spectacular of fashions, he was already in the all-time PRL highlight reel when he won at Road America in GT3. Book this one for yet another one. Here comes some of his teammates to congratulate him. The streak of Aiden Young, the reign of terror is over. And welcome Floyd Kerr back to PRL victory lane, his 3rd win ever in PRL competition. But the results already, Derek, and I mentioned it was a little bit of a foregone conclusion. We maybe didn't give him the glory he deserved because we had such an excellent battle in GT4, but Jason Drescher, victorious yet again. I don't believe he's clinched the championship. It'll still be mathematically possible for somebody else to win it next week, but essentially, if Jason Drescher starts the race next week and finishes, he's probably winning this championship. He's probably getting his 2nd in a row. Christian Garatone, though, he'll be coming into next week with a little bit of hope based on his pole, a little bit of disappointment based on how it ended up, though. Eric Leroy, another podium for him in P3. Excellent race for the number 444. Chase Wilson and Vincent LaRue rounded out the top 5. Calvin Myant was potentially looking at his first podium. A couple of spins, though, took him out. He'll take some confidence from the speed, though. Ian Starker and Mikey Smith rounded out the lead lap finishers, and Samuel Ma and Greg Doucette had a little bit of trouble, 4 laps down and 5 laps down each. The used car lot begins fairly quickly. Doug Sorrentino and Nick Taylor both had damage. Ryan Kings in his first race back in the PRL did not go the way he wanted, but hopefully we'll be seeing him back more often. And Sean Mulholland and David Steveson did not actually get off the grid. We did not see them racing today. In GT4, though, Floyd Kerr, spectacular race, spectacular battle, and it all came down to a pit road thing that flipped it around, that got him the lead. He was able to hold on, even with a little bit of contact. Floyd Kerr wins for the first time in a GT4 car and the third time in the PRL. Aiden Young's streak is over. He'll still be pretty happy with a P2, though. And Arnaud Genet back to P3 after getting turned to last. Not even on lap 1. Before the green flag even came out, he still finishes on the podium. And if there's a penalty for Aiden Young, Arnaud Genet could potentially be the favorite for the championship next week. We can only wait and see. Michael Terrafino and Turner Schroll round out the top 5 rather. Callan Tobin was P6 ahead of William Brennan, Nathan Deering, Adam Ostrich, and James O'Brien. A lot of Porsches in the top 10 there. Roy Brown was the last driver on the lead lap. Barry Sessoms, Doug Evans, Will Jennings, Robert McGeehan, and Jordan Branch all ran into little bits of trouble. They ended up 1 lap down each. Nathan Jennings ended up in the biggest trouble. He was 19 laps down after some damage, the number 4 Mercedes. But we've got a lot of drivers to talk to. I'm very much looking forward to talking to Floyd and Aiden, but first we do have to talk to our overall winner. Yet again, Jason Drescher is our winner in LMP3. It didn't look like it was going to be that easy, Jason. Christian looked pretty fast in practice, pretty fast in qualifying, but once you got clean air today, you looked pretty unstoppable.
Yeah, I got kind of lucky. I was got a bad start, dropped down to 3rd. I thought, I just got to be conservative here, but got a good pass, and then Christian made a mistake and got the clean air, and yeah, took off, so it was a lot of fun. I did not expect to win this race.
So that's your 8th win in a prototype in the PRL. 1 more will take you to 9. Maybe 1 more next season will take you to 10. How are you feeling about next week, though? At Spa, championship finale. Are you feeling confident?
Feeling pretty confident, actually. I love Spa. Haven't really driven it on this with this car yet, but yeah, I love the track. So hopefully it'll be a good race, and yeah, be a lot of fun.
Well, Jason, congrats on yet another win, and we'll see you for the championship next week.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Jason Drescher coming home P1 in that number 29, but the headliner of the day, the star of the day, Floyd Kerr was your victor, and he's talking to Derek.
Well, Floyd Kerr victorious once again here in the PRL. Floyd, that looked hot and heavy out there.
It was definitely a tough race, a very close and interesting fight with Aiden Young, but it feels great to get a good personal result and a great team result with all of us finishing where we did.
Yeah, great team result indeed. But let's ask you about the contact. So we're going to ask Aiden about it as well. That sort of temporarily took you out of the lead between yourself and Aiden Young. What's your viewpoint of how that went down?
I'm assuming this is turn like 3, the right-hander. I thought I left plenty of room. It's kind of a difficult corner to race too wide in and make the move stick. So I took the line with enough room for him on the inside, and unfortunately just spun. So yeah, not much more to it.
So it looked like Aiden was trying to give you the spot back afterwards, but it kind of looked like you just wanted to race him back. Was there just a lack of communication there, or what happened?
I'm not sure. I mean, it definitely seemed like he might have been slowing down. Maybe he felt bad, but didn't give the position up, which, to be honest, I'd never expect anyone to give the position up regardless of what you do. So I think it was a fair fight to the end. Sketchy, but definitely fair, and yeah, I'm happy about the win.
All right, well, next week we wrap up the season at Spa. Do you like the track? Are you good at it?
Unfortunately, I won't be making the final round, and I can't drop the round either. But fortunately, my internship with Aero McLaren starts that week.
Ooh.
So
well, hey, that's a victory all in of itself.
Absolutely.
Are you going to be at Detroit, Floyd?
I will be, yes.
I'll be there too. I'll see you there.
Oh, right on. Sweet.
All right, well, Floyd, listen, great job tonight. Great job on the win, and I assume we'll see you next season?
Possibly, we'll see.
All right, well, have a good night.
You too.
Coming into a rich PRL tradition is Floyd Kerr of PRL stalwarts are being taken away by pesky IndyCar. But I'm looking forward to seeing Floyd. I'll make sure we can definitely meet. In the meantime, though, I won't take you back up to LMP3. I do want to talk to Aiden Young, who finished second in that GT4 battle. We got to get your side of the story, Aiden. That little bit of contact in turn 4 that maybe defined that battle. How was it from your perspective?
It was pretty good. I mean, I'm sick currently, so my reflexes are off, so I apologize to Floyd. I felt bad for that, so I just tried to find a safe gap and a safe place to where I could let him by me. Finally I found that, and then after that I just tried to go for it with him, but unfortunately I didn't get the win. You can't win every race, and then, I mean, I'm just happy with that I won 6. Hopefully next week back at Spa I'm better, and then I can win at Spa.
Yeah, won't make you talk for too much longer if you're sick, but next week you will still have the championship lead as far as I know. Are you feeling confident about Spa? You're feeling confident about holding off Arnaud and the gang?
I haven't driven Spa, so I mean, I don't really know. I mean, I've driven Spa, but not with the GT4. I'll definitely try and put in some good practice and see if I can keep my pace up, and then hopefully end with 7 wins on the season and the championship.
Well, Aiden, we'll let you get some rest, we'll let you get some sleep, and we'll see you next week when hopefully you're feeling a little bit better.
See you next week.
Aiden Young, still coming home with the podium. Call him LeBron. Maybe this was his flu game. But we'll go back up to LMP3 here. Eric Leroy has finished on the podium, and he's talking to Derek.
Well, Eric, we saw you involved in lots of battles throughout the day here in that machine, and in fact, a long battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th, but finished pretty well here today as you finished at P3. How was it out there at Laguna Seca?
Stressful. Yeah, I feel lucky that I held on to 3rd. I know I had better pace than I think I was showing. I just was really struggling getting through the GT4 traffic, if you couldn't tell. So that was creating a lot of battles and challenges for me, and I just was able to hold on. And I was in a little bit of a mess, so I decided to pit early to see if I could just find some clean air and maybe make it up on the track, and it worked out. So feeling lucky with the P3.
Nice. Well, next week you take the Moradis M Squad vehicle off to Spa. How do you feel about that?
I love Spa, but I know a lot of people are fast at Spa, so I'm excited to see how strong we can finish the season, see how many points we can make up, and yeah, once again, shout out to the Moradis M Squad team. They've been super helpful to me.
All right. Well, listen, Eric. Well, great run tonight in P3, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Eric Leroy rounding out the podium in LMP3. We'll talk to one more driver, though, because we do have Arnaud Genet. You're a 3rd place finisher in GT4. I don't know how I'm saying that, Arnaud, because you were 17th on lap 1, and somehow you're still on the podium. How'd you pull that off?
Yeah, well, I had I had the knife between my teeth for sure. I was pretty frustrated with this with the race start. I knew I had pace on this track this week. I've shown that in the qualification session. Well, despite Aiden being sick, I mean, pulling 0.3 on a Q lap on him I was very proud of the lap. But yeah, I mean, T1 or not even T1 and getting turned, I have to look at the replay. Aiden already apologized, but yeah, 2 weeks in a row that I feel that my race start is not on point. I definitely have to work on that.
Who knows if there's a potential penalty from another steward over there, the championship battle might be a little bit more even coming into Spa next week. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll see you in a couple days, Arnaud.
All right, see you boys. Have a nice week.
Arnaud Genet rounding off the podium, and I am very much looking forward to Spa next week. We're not going to have a real championship battle in LMP3. It's pretty much a formality if Jason Drescher can end up winning that race. But GT4, depending on how the stewards go, that could be very, very interesting. Spa, May 27th, Memorial Day, same time, same place. So once you're done all your barbecuing and your fireworks, break out the computer, break out the TV, break out the iPhone or something, and put on some PRL action, because we're going to have a great time. We're going to have a great time tonight, though, because we're not done with the racing action. We've got even more, and we've got LMP2, GTP, and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Where else could we go in the month of May, Derek? I'm feeling pretty weird, because I was just here for the last, 2 weeks, and now suddenly I'm seeing it virtually. I can't get away from this place.
Yeah, this is very fitting that we're here, because, as you said, you've been there, and I think you're going back.
Home again.
You're doing your best gym neighbors there.
In Indiana.
That's nice. That's a nice gym neighbors right there.
It's no DJ Clark.
I've never heard DJ Clark do it, but here we are, Indianapolis, and of course we finish up next week at Misano, one of the new tracks in the availability of iRacing. So we'll finish our season there. But this is really Indianapolis Motor Speed is a very, I think, polarizing road track. Some people love this place. Some people are not fans of this place, but it's a very, very interesting road course. Let's take a look at our points, though, and see how our GTPs are lining up.
Sean Campbell has essentially clinched the championship. If he does well enough today, he will officially clinch it. He will be in the field after missing last week, so he could clinch it today. But the big battle is that battle for second. Nathan Ray, Kwok Nin, and Bradley Holly, 4 points still separate them. They have been inseparable all season long, and that is essentially your championship battle for P2. Can't really count out Jeff Evans, can't count out Nicholas Schwartz, can't count out Pat Pelshaw either. He's missed a couple of races, but he seems to be more consistent now, and if he consistently shows up in these final 2 rounds, he could be the spoiler. He could take P2 away from the rest of these guys, the defending champion. Sanadakis, Ovando, and Luna, they've all been on sort of part-time seasons in a way. They're all fighting for those last couple of spots in the top 10. DNFs, DNSs, all sorts of things for those guys. Teams Championship, not quite locked up, just like the Drivers' Championship, but Whataback 104 points over Precision Racing Esports. If they can keep consistent, if they can keep the points coming, they should be able to clinch this team's championship. But crazier things have happened, and we do have more Precision Racing Esports drivers in the field nowadays that could score those points. The LMP2 driver standings, though, this battle is still going to be close to the end of the season. This is not clinched by any sense of the imagination. We've had many strong drivers. We've had many different winners this season. It might be a 25-point lead for Jack Hedgecox, but that is not insurmountable. One bad race for Jack can drop him down. He's already taken a DNF. He's already taken his drop week. Anything can happen. Caruso's still in it. Crow's still in it. Campbell's still in it. Even Caleb Lehman and Andrew Wood are still in it. The rest of the top 10, though, very, very close. Going to be seeing all those positions cycle around and shuffle around in these final 2 rounds. The team's championship, it's definitely been one to watch in LMP2. Still a little bit separated, though, as Goen have started to be a little bit more consistent. They've got almost a 60-point lead over Lunatic Racing. Hyperion Racing had a 1-2 the other week with Zach Kerr finally showing up and his teammate Alex Caruso and a couple of others. Unfortunately, we haven't seen Zach Kerr last week, and I don't think we're seeing him this week either, so Hyperion might have a tough time getting up there, as will SRT, as will everybody else in the top 10, but we'll see what happens. We're going through this quick, though, Derek, because qualifying is underway. We've still got a couple more laps on the board for everybody at Indy, and there's a different name up at the top. Pat Pelshaw currently sitting on pole in a very foggy Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah, it's really hard to see. There's no rain, which was my first thought when I saw these guys. There's no rain in the forecast, but it is foggy and hard to see. But yeah, Pat Pelshaw is up on the board here. And Pat's really been working hard the past couple weeks when I talked to Whataback about this. And they said they've been working hard to dial in setups, and he keeps thinking his goal is to catch Sean Campbell. Well, of course, last week Pat won without Sean here. So now we got to wonder, can Pat do it with Sean here?
Well, unfortunately, with that qualifying lap, it unfortunately looks unlikely. I'll say unfortunately one more time, as it's a 4/10 gap on that lap for Sean Campbell. Dayton Lowe, he's still around, though, looking to improve on this lap as he runs through the chicane, riding on board with them down Holman Boulevard. He does have weird, I think those are skin-colored gloves. That's odd.
Oh, yeah, okay, yep, I see him now, you're right.
Very hairy arm-colored suit?
Tattoos?
I think it's hairy arm-colored suit.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I apologize. Yeah, you are. That's why you are Joey Tebben, because you are on point with that call.
How very odd, Dayton Lowe. But it's good to see both teammates here. It's good to see both fiercely forward teammates finally. John Rice and Dayton Lowe, they're both here. They're both repping the black and yellow gang.
Now, what I want to know is if they're both repping the hairy arms and flesh-colored
I hope so.
gloves.
I can only hope.
If you're all in, you're all in. You know, like you got to really go for it sometimes.
Dayton Lowe to the line, does improve, does not improve enough to beat his teammate John Rice, though, which is kind of shocking. Dayton came into the season as one of the most highly hyped drivers, dominant in an LMP3 car last season, but unfortunately, Indy not quite going his way so far. Jeff Evans in the magenta Acura for Whataback, looking to be a little bit of a spoiler in that P2 battle for the championship. He heard me talking about how Ray, Holly, and Nin were the protagonists. Jeff says, you know what, I'm fast and consistent in the GTP2. He crosses the line to no improvement, but he's still ahead of all of his teammates except Nicholas Schwartz.
Yeah, and here's Jack Hedgecox, one of our LMP2 drivers. Currently has a 1:15.801 on the board. You know, sort of fitting tonight, Joey. We're going to go to 2 fast road courses, by the way. These are both fast as far as lap time. So, again, traffic will play a factor in the race. Not so much the qualifying. Jack's going to make the left-hand corner here and then quickly come around and make the right-hand corner. And he's trying to see if he can get up on the board because right now it's Zach Kerr who is ahead of him by about half a second.
Yeah, I take back what I said in the team's championship points segment. I said Zach Kerr wasn't here this week. That's just because I didn't see him on the practice timesheets. But the second he shows up in qualifying, he has thrown something down ahead of the field. Hedgecox is on an improved lap, though. Purple doesn't mean he's going for pole. That just means he's improving on our timing. So it might not be a pole lap. It might just be a little bit of an improvement. But he needs everything he can get. 3 points off Alex Crow. Or 3/10 off of Alex Crow, rather. Is he going to be able to pick up any of that as Hedgecox brings it to the line? Not sounding good for him. I think the time refreshes just at the wrong moment for him, and that tells us that I think it was a disallowed lap time.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does look that way, doesn't it? Because, yeah, I thought that was going to be at least an improvement, if not a pole. But here's Alex Caruso in that number 89 machine coming down the line here to get a time on the board or just afterwards. Here's Nicholas Gowen, part of that Gowen team that's up in first place in the LMP2s.
He's in the stealth special this week, all black.
Yeah, that's not a very good paint for a track that's foggy.
Covered in smoke.
Yeah, right.
It looks like Indianapolis in like the 1910s. It's covered in like factory smoke.
Yeah, this is gonna be a hard track as far as wreck avoidance tonight in the race because of that fog. We'll wait and see how that plays out. Here's Jack Hedgecox again. Coming back around, we'll see if this lap time is good. It's about a minute in, and is up to down to P6 now. By the way, as drivers have gotten ahead of him.
Gowen still did put at P5 though. He might have been hiding in the smoke and in the smog, but he was still able to do a pretty big lap there. Let's see if Hedgecox can displace him off of P5. I don't know. I can't do the math that quickly in my head. Was that enough for Jack? Yes, it was by a couple hundredths of a second. Jack Hedgecox gets himself back up into P5.
That will probably be the last of our people in about 14 seconds left in qualifying here. So we'll wait and see how this turns out at a very, very, very foggy Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
We can only hope that the weather will refresh so we can actually see the cars when we take the green. But until then, make sure you remember what we're about to show you now. Sean Campbell in the very bright red car will start from pole, and Pat Pelshaw, last week's winner, will start alongside him. It's all fiercely forward on row number 2. Look for the yellow of John Rice and Dayton Lowe. Stephen Verity, good run from him to start P5. Nicholas Schwartz, the lead Whataback driver yet again, in P6. Jeff Evans, P7 ahead of his teammate Bradley Holly. Nathan Ray trying to fight both of them for that second place in the Drivers' Championship. Nikos Sanadakis rounds out the top 10 as the lead Vaporworks driver. Kwok Nin behind him is P11 alongside Darian Roy in one of the lone Porsches of the field. And then there will be no unlucky 13th because there are only 12 GTP cars in the field this week. It's a couple more LMP2s though. Zach Kerr leads the way, looking to keep up his 100% win record this season. He's only been here for 1 out of the 7 races so far, but how about making it 2 out of 8? Caleb Lehman starts alongside him in the Caleb Lemon number 42. Alex Caruso P3 alongside his fellow Alex Crow. Jack Hedgecox is your team's championship leader. He doesn't need to win today, but he's certainly going to try. He starts alongside the stealth number 88 of Nicholas Gowen. P7, Luke Wallace in the white SRT car starts alongside Andrew Wood. Joshua Chinsky, his home race, he's running the Indianapolis Motor Speedway car. Look for him to advance from P9 as he starts alongside Rob Campbell. Then it's all white on row number 6. Chip Michaels and John Krauser bring us down to the end of the top dozen. Unlucky 13th went to Craig Bray in the Moradness number 709. Nathan Mon P14 and Daniel Trinka. I don't know if he's going to be on the grid. I saw him talking a little bit earlier that he's had some bad luck so far this season. He's had some tech issues, but I believe he was just practicing today in advance of potentially being back next season for a full effort. But that is going to be your grid, Derek. 26 cars in total, and the fog's still here. So I hope everybody's memorized the track because they're not going to get much visibility.
No, not much at all. But, you mentioned next season. It is worth mentioning, Joy, that signups are open to everyone for next season, whether you're a current PRL member or not. It is 5 nights of racing. It's the Cup Series on Sundays. It's prototypes here on Mondays. GT3s on Tuesdays. Got the NASCAR Trucks and Grand Nationals on Wednesdays. And then it's Super Formulas and the, returning GR86 MX5 on Thursdays. So head over to the Precision Racing League website, find out all the info on how to sign up. But yeah, signups are open for everyone. So hey, Joey Tubman could be saying your name in just a few weeks.
It could happen. I think the only series that doesn't have any openings is GT3 Fixed. They already have 59, but GT3 Sprint is still open. And as Derek mentioned, both prototype nights, or both prototype series, same as this season, LMP3-GT4 and GTP-LMP2, they're open. And I'm very excited for GR86 MX5, Derek. I was very excited to see the prototypes come back a couple of seasons ago, and now I'm very excited to see those MX5s and those GR86s come back, because there's so many drivers in the PRL who loved those cars, and that means there's going to be so many drivers coming back. I see already that Jameson Sampaio has signed up again, Michael Chase has signed up again, and I assume his son, Austin Bartlett Chase, will be signing up as well. Lots of good names. Mark Kalin is going back to the road courses in the MX-5s. He was so strong in that car before. Lots of drivers who love that MX-5, and I'm very excited to see again.
Yeah, big shout out to PRL member and organizer Andrew Sharp for putting this idea back out.
Yeah, and him and the GR86 as well. That's a combo made in heaven. He loves that car.
He loves it. In fact, he won the 24 Hours of Nürburgring this weekend with Tab and Rossi Esports.
There you go. I wonder if maybe we'll see Alexis Moisan come back, the driver who went 10 for 10 in a GR86 a couple of seasons ago. That would be pretty exciting to see if he's able to do anything. Track conditions, though, very, very good if you're a driver. 67 degrees Fahrenheit, both track temp and air temp. It's as cold as can be, Derek. Those tires are going to be very, very happy, and I don't think it's going to be changing much throughout the day. No,
the only people who like this track condition right now would be either drivers or someone playing a hide and seek.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like Indy actually did this week. On Tuesday, just rain the whole time, a little bit of Friday. It's cruel that iRacing actually did this to us. If we didn't have enough bad times with the rain, if we're already not thinking about rain on the Sunday that might impact the Indy 500, we got to get a little bit scared with the possibility of rain here too.
Yeah, we'll wait and see here as the pace car is going to lead us around here and help us get our grids ready. Of course, remember there are separate grids here for the two classes, but they're going to start simultaneously at this track. So you'll see the side-by-sides here on your screen.
Sean Campbell, though, takes control of the field in GTP. Missed last week, wasn't with us, opened the door for somebody else. But today, if he can win this race, he'll be going for a very big number. This is his 29th pole. It could potentially be his 31st win in the PRL. The flag is in the hands of not Aaron Likens, but Barney the Flagman. He sees the field come to green, and Sean Campbell leads them all to green. Looks like a mediocre start from Pat Pelshaw through the smog. The fiercely forward drivers peeking through. John Rice and not Aiden Young, rather, his teammate running side by side to turn one. Nicholas Schwartz and Stephen Verity near contact. 3 wide with Jeff Evans and Bradley Holly and Nico Sanadakis through turn one. They get things figured out. On the right side of your screen, though, LMP2 into turn one. It's already a Hyperion 1 and 2. Zach Kerr leads the way. Caruso gets around. Jack Hedgecock's into P2. Caleb Lehman falls from P2 to P4.
I'll tell you what, Nathan Ray spun it around about halfway here, but man, they were 3 wide coming down the front straight with the LMP2s, and they quickly got that worked out. I was really concerned for turn one, but they have it worked out here. Now on the left side of your screen, you've seen the action going on. More single file than the LMP2s, so there's still lots of side-by-side here through this inner part of the road course here in Indianapolis.
Andrew Wood having a decent run to the outside in the end of Hellman Boulevard. Not able to make the move, though, on Alex Crow. Back in GTP, a potential dive coming into the cut-in, back into the infield. Not going to happen, though. Sanadakis hangs on behind Bradley Holly. It's quite a train, though. Holly, Sanadakis, Kwok Nin, and a whole host of others. It's going to be a very exciting battle. Dayton Lowe in the draft of Pat Pelshaw into turn one. Is he close enough to go for a dive? He's going to think about it, but but he's not close enough to do that. Needs to be about a 10th closer to actually think about a dive into turn 1. But Dayton Lowe is up 1 spot. Him and his teammate flipped around on lap 1. John Rice down to P4, Dayton Lowe up to P3.
And tell you what, that dive into turn 1 we thought was going to happen, in my mind, is one of the hardest places on this track to get that dive. We've seen it go bad many times in NASCAR and other forms of racing here, so very dangerous spots here to make that happen. But great job here by Dayton Lowe and John Rice, 3rd and 4th. Lots
Slow
of
down for Jeff Evans.
Back in line there, yeah.
Slow down for Jeff Evans, gives the spot to Bradley Holly. Had to send it off into the gray there just to let him by. I'm not sure where he got that slowdown, but I don't know, Derek. Was that a slowdown, or was he just giving a spot to Brad? I imagine it was a slowdown.
And the only reason I say that is I don't know where he would have got. I'm trying to think where he would have got the slowdown. It was near there, but I don't know. But
could have been turn 4, could have been through the chicane, but yeah, already bad luck for Jeff. We were saying he was having a great run so far, out-qualified most of his teammates, but unfortunately, just like in the Grand National Series, unfortunately he's going to be seeing the rear end of Bradley Holly.
Yeah, it's a pretty common thing to have drivers see in the Grand Nationals, especially as Bradley's having a great season over there. But here we are. This is now on board with John Rice. That's looking back on the Stephen Verity. Portland, Oregon native is Stephen Verity, so having a good run. Had a bit of a hard run here so far this season in the GTPs. That's Stephen Verity, so wants to do well here tonight and see if we can kind of rebound that momentum.
A very difficult chicane through there. You might think, you know, in a high downforce open wheel car, it's usually pretty easy. You line it up, you make it through, you don't have to lift at all. But if you're even slightly offline in a prototype like this, it's tough. And we ride on board with Nathan Ray as he sends it into the 90-degree corner at the end of the back straight. Isn't able to make it happen. Forces Kwoknin to outbrake himself, but nothing changes there. But turn 7 has been spectacular so far today, and Nathan Ray not able to make it happen that time.
No, that was a really close one, though. I was kind of clenching the arms of my chair, holding on, hoping that wasn't going to go bad, but they got it all worked out here. And now follow Kwoknin around for a little bit here. So this visibility we have, or lack thereof, for the drivers, it doesn't matter so much as far as what's instantly in front of them, Joey. The problem will be seeing things that happen far ahead. Maybe at the end of the straightaway, for example, if a wreck happens, you might miss the memo, so to speak.
Yeah, I hope you have the broadcast up. Listen to and speak of the devil, you're not going to miss that though. That's the brightest car in the field. The magenta number 51 of Jeff Evans spins it around in turn 1, gets it going again right ahead of the LMP2 leader Zach Kerr. But yeah, just as you say it, Derek, I bet Zach probably didn't see that until the last moment.
There's no, I mean, yeah, especially to visit. Look at that.
Yeah, who are these? Who are those guys?
Those are just headlights moving by themselves. Oh, he just got a little too hot, coming to the corner there. And then probably slammed on the brakes and got it wrapped around there. But good job by Jeff. Didn't hit anything. Waited a moment, got himself gathered up and back into it. Here's that battle we were at earlier. Let's Kwoknin in the black and orange here, being run down here.
Good exit from Ray. He's close, and he loves that switch back to the inside. Doesn't think it's going to happen this time, and forces Nin into a mistake, actually. Forces him into the dummy, tricks him into throwing it off the road. Kwok has the inside through the second part of the corner, though. Little bit of a clip of the grass from Ray. Side-by-side through the final corner is so difficult to do, and they're going to be side-by-side down the front straight, Derek. Who's going to be later on the brakes into turn 1?
Yeah, we'll wait and see. I think it's going to be Ray because of the inside corner. Let's find out here, though, and see who outbreaks who. It's going to be Ray.
Over the curb. Over the curb goes Nathan Ray, unsettles the car, was getting aggressive, was trying to hold on, and unfortunately learns that the curbs in Indianapolis, there's a couple of them that are flat, there's a couple of them that are okay, but the one in turn 1, it's not a happy curb. It doesn't like it when you mount it like that.
No, it really doesn't. We've seen that happen multiple times, unfortunately, in both real life and sim. And here we go. Let's watch this replay here. Woo. That's the 990. Just sort of lost it on his own out of that corner.
Good save, though. Call that the Jack Harvey special from the Indy GP. Just a half spin, loops it around. No damage, though, and he'll get to live another day.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate for him, though. We saw some very good things from Alex so far this season. Remember his dominance in that very, very wet race at Imola. Unfortunately, the race that appears very wet but is actually very dry, aka today's race, not quite going quite his way.
No, in fact, I did take a look at the radar. In fact, I can tell you that despite how this looks, We're still at 0% chance of rain in this race. So I know, right? I'm the same way. It's going to look like this. It might as well rain and do that. But here is Rob Campbell and Chip Michaels, 9th and 10th in LMP2 is the battle. And then we're going to add in Craig Bray and Alex Crow. I feel like P12 was a very out of the not common running order for Alex Crow, in fact.
Yeah, that's going to make this exciting. The fact that after that spin, he's far lower than he should really be. You're going to be seeing some moves out of him. You almost saw sort of an incidental move into turn 1. He was just so much later on the brakes with the concertina from the 3 cars ahead. Craig Bray almost didn't know what hit him there. But coming through turn 4, then through the chicane of turns 5 and 6, Alex Crow is on the hunt. Big wiggle, though. He's going to lose even more time.
Wow, he almost lost more than that because I saw that car, thought it was going to just snap away to the side, but he didn't. He managed to hold on to it and keep it just up on the pavement there. Great job by Alex Crow. He's trying his best to make something happen here.
This is kind of a... You don't normally think of this track as the great equalizer, but it is a little bit of a funky order in some ways. You don't see Nathan Ray fighting for the top 5 like you normally do. He's fighting for P11 with Darian Roy. Things have kind of flipped around in GTP with how different this track is. It's flat, it's an infield road course, it's a lot of 90-degree corners. You're seeing some drivers able to take this on more than some others. Ray to the inside of Roy, though. He'll make it happen into turn 1, clips the curb again, but gets it stuck this time. But yeah, different place than we normally see Nathan Ray and some others.
Yeah, it's always nice to see tracks where maybe it's the conditions, maybe it's the car, maybe it's the track, maybe it's just familiarity with the circuit. You never know, but it's nice to see when you can have this happen. Here is going to be thanks to Alex Crow digging to the inside there, making a nice pass here into turn 1. So turn 1 is definitely becoming a popular passing point here on this track. So we'll see if we can get the note. Okay, stays the outside.
This is where Crow had a little bit of a moment last time, though. Keeps it pointed straight, uses the curb to his advantage, no issues for him, and he can look forward to Chip Michaels now.
Yeah, look forward to Chip Michaels here. About 36 minutes, 36 and a half minutes on the clock here. So we've chipped away about 9 minutes here on the board. Now, what I wonder with this visibility, Joey, is with how hard it is to see, does this mess with the driver's braking points? Does this mess with the signs and the markers you set on the track to know where you're supposed to brake or where you want to be lined up in a certain spot? I would think it has to at a certain point.
It might do, and it also, even with the coolness of the track, with how cold it is, you might be able to brake, I think, a little bit later because you're not sliding around as much. You've got a little bit more grip in the tires, so very different, about as different as it can be without actually raining is essentially what we're seeing today. It's a little bit like old iRacing before rain was even in consideration. But now we ride on board with Nicholas Goen in the Stealth Black number 88 special. Maybe an advantage for him in these conditions, maybe not, but he's trying to knock Andrew Wood out of P7 and is not quite close enough to make a move just yet.
No, not close enough, but doing a great job of staying there in camera shot as much as the camera shot can find him. And there is a pass right there. That's Kwok in. I lied for a second.
Yeah, Nathan Ray getting through on Kwok in turn 7. Finally was able to do the attempt at a move that he wasn't able to do a couple of laps ago. And now Nathan looks forward. He heard us talking about how he's lower in the order than he normally is, and he says, "Shut up! I'm driving forward. I'm gonna make sure I still finish in the top 5 today if I can."
Yeah, so watch this. He's going over. Here's Kwok here. Now getting wide again in that corner. That's going to be Darian Roy, behind him, and Jeff Evans. That's 10th, 11th, and 12th on your screen as we come down this iconic front straight once again. Somewhat of a backwards order compared to what we're used to seeing it in the month of May. I guess not. That's not true. We start here in the road course in May with the Indy cars.
Yeah, the Indy GP. It's become a tradition now. It's been, what, 10 years since the start of that, so I think that's a tradition by now.
Yeah, no, you're right. I apologize. I'm locked into Indy 500. It'll be the iRacing version or the real-life version, so that's where my head is. But no, you're right.
Jeff Evans is in this battle now. It's a very small field in in GTP rather this week. Only 12 cars, so 12th is the battle for last. But this is about to get very, very exciting. Jeff is on a drive forward after his spin. Darian Roy is just trying to hold on in that Porsche. Kwok Nin is fighting for every point he can in the team's championship. Even when you're fighting for last, Derek, there's still a story to every driver, and they still want every point they can get.
And that every point matters, especially when you're racing. As you said, there's that big herd of drivers racing realistically for P2 in those points with Sean Campbell pulling away. So every pass matters, every moment matters, every lap led matters. And that's what a numbers nerd lives on, is those kind of moments of knowing all the if-thens and all the number crunching.
Look at this camera. Darian Roy with a little bit of an astronaut message there, a little bit of an astronaut flag and name code on the front end of that car. Looks like he is going to space, and Jeff Evans, almost the rocket fuel that sends him into space so much later on the brakes in turn 1, but he's just not quite close enough. Needs to be probably within about 1/10 of a second. Needs to be that little bit alongside to actually go for a move into turn 1. He just hasn't quite been able to get there. But that magenta Acura, that driver is aggressive, that driver is consistent, and if you see that car in your rearview mirror for long enough, you're probably going to be forced into a mistake. Doesn't happen into turn 7 this time. Darian Roy continues to hang on, but this is going to be a battle to watch all day long. And I don't think any of these guys are going to be giving up. Kwok is going to be in it as well. I think Nathan Ray is going to be very happy that he got by Kwok when he did, because look at that gap. 3 seconds now separate Nathan Ray from Kwok Nin. But as we continue to watch this, LMP2 has been a little bit more of a foregone conclusion. Roy peeks to the inside of Nin. Nothing's going to happen there in this class. Kerr has pulled 2 full seconds over his teammate Alex Caruso. He's hoping for a Kerr sweep in GT4 and LMP2 this week. Caruso has more pressing issues, though. As you'll just see in the background of your shot here, Jack Hedgecox is there. There is going to be a battle for P2 and LMP2. There's going to be a battle for P10 and GTP as once again Darian Roy peeks to the inside. Once again, though, unrealistically too far back to make it happen. Oh, Darian Roy. Oh, and Kwok Nin side by side just as we look away. Kwok says, I'm having a little bit more trouble than you thought. Darian Roy wasn't able to make it happen into turn 1, so he tried to make it happen a little bit later. Still nothing changes, but Jeff Evans is suddenly much closer on the scene. Nobody can decide a line into turn 7, and nobody makes any advancements from this battle just yet, but this is calamity here, and look at Jeff. You can visibly see how aggressive he's getting, how desperate he's getting, trying to make it by. Nicholas Schwartz, though, more trouble for the Whataback drivers. From P5, he goes around, sees his teammate Bradley Holly coming through and lets him through as well. But that's a shame for Nicholas Schwartz, was having a great run. P5 becomes P7. But back to Kwok. Can't give up on this. I think Roy's going to be a little bit too far back this time to make the same attempt he did last time, but look at Jeff Evans out of the final corner. This is the closest he's been, and we know that Acura is faster in a straight line. I think he's going to be too far back to go for it into turn 1. He's going to be getting frustrated right now, but look at how much later he is in the brakes. He needs to be 1 or 2 tenths closer, and he'll be able to make this happen. But it is so absolutely invisible out there. I could not tell you who's battling right now if I didn't know already. That's got to be distracting if you're a driver. That's got to be tough. Evans almost losing it through the chicane. Grass being clipped up. Curbs are being mowed down. This is some of the most aggressive driving I think we've seen all season. And these are just 3 drivers getting frustrated by each other's presence. What's the phrase? Two's a crowd. Two's company, three's a crowd. I think this is very much too much of a crowd for these 2 guys. They're getting very sick of the rear end of Kwok Nin. But to Kwok's credit, this has been a very good defensive drive from a driver who's been very consistent this season and very strong this season. He's made a couple of mistakes, he's made a couple of errors, but they've been all in opportune places where he can hold these guys back, and yet again, through the final sector, he opens the door for Darian Roy, and then through the high-speed final corner, he runs away down the front stretch. They're getting close in the foreground. Nothing's going to happen there. Nathan Ray and Nikos Sanadakis running 1 by 1 into turn 1. And 1 by 1 as Darian Roy locks it up into turn 1. The mistake finally comes, taps the wall a little bit, and that's going to be the end of that for him. Evans gets through, and now it'll be Evans versus Nin with no Roy in the sandwich. Pelshaw and Lowe, though, the battle for P2 is on. Sean Campbell hasn't actually been able to run away with the lead for essentially the first time in a while. He's actually only got about a second ahead of Pelshaw, so one mistake could change things. Pelshaw does have some trouble in his rearview mirror, though. Dayton Lowe in one of the only Porsches in the field. It's only him and Darian Roy. He's just trying to do something well for that fiercely forward Porsche. He's trying to take P2 away, and it's going to be a little bit too far back to do it this time, but He's doing much better than I think anybody expected a Porsche to do. Look at Nathan Ray, though, around the outside. That is not a popular place to make a move. And Nathan Ray swoops around Nikos Sanadakis and makes it happen through turn 12 and 13. Excellent stuff there. Dayton Lowe, though, the pressure's still on through the first sector, through turn 4, then through the chicane at turns 5 and 6. He's a little bit slower, loses that little bit of time in the dirty air, but he's putting the pressure on. And this is the closest battle on track. Down in LMP2, there's a couple of trains going, but nothing that we're missing here. Pelshaw and Lowe is the battle of the day. And as I mentioned, two of the stars of last season, Pelshaw, the champion in the GTP series, was so dominant that he was actually able to miss the final round deliberately and dedicate the entirety of his time trying to help his teammate Daniel Zegers win a championship in LMP2. That was how selfless and how fast Pat Pelshaw was last season that he was able to try and make that happen. Dayton Lowe, as I mentioned, was in LMP3, totally dominant at times. I believe there was a 30-second win at Suzuka. Unfortunately lost the championship to Jason Drescher because he wasn't able to make the final round and didn't quite have the championship clinched. It was like 49 points or something, so he lost it by essentially a technicality, but that's just how things go. That's how championships end up sometimes, and he comes into this high level of prototype racing with comparatively less experience than the rest of the field, and he's done a very impressive job so far, going for a podium, literally fighting with the defending champion. Dayton Lowe's going to be pretty happy right now.
And listen, going back to your talk about Pat Pelshaw, and I know we've hit on this a couple times in the broadcast, when you talk to Wadaback about this program here specifically for this car, everyone sings the praises of Pat Pelshaw and the work he does in turning laps, getting the setup done, asking for feedback. You know, they said he's been sounding happier as the season's gone on, and he's been performing better. But Pat, according to Wadaback, really is sort of the unsung hero of this GTP program.
Darian Roy has gotten into trouble again. We saw him have his big lockup into turn 1, and now is he about to do the same thing into turn 7? Not quite. A little bit of a grass.
That is wild. I mean, as I said, I know he caught the grass a little bit, but to see that car snap that hard, Joey, was wild. What is this here? Let's take a look at this as we got that happening.
Loss of focus for Nicholas Schwartz, I think. Totally misses the corner, and that's easy to do there, Derek. Big crash in LMP2, not sure who it is. That is the number 22 of Nathan Mon, and John Krauser as well. Craig Bray involved as well. You can see the big damage on Bray's car. This was a very close battle a couple of moments ago, Derek, but side by side through the chicane did not work. No. And a near flip for John Krauser.
Yeah, more airtime than you should get at any point at the Indianapolis road course is what that LMP2 got right there. That is not good to see. He'll have to come bring that in, I'm guessing, and get some damage fixed. Here is a great battle for position happening right here in this moment, Joey. That 64 machine trying to hold on to that spot.
Wood and go in at it into turn 1. Nothing changing there this time, but these are technically two teammates this season. Andrew Wood on loan from PRE over to Go In Racing to kind of fill out their lineup this season. And he's been doing a pretty good job this season. Just like last season, very consistent, picking up points when he can. That's why he's in the fight for the top 5 in the Drivers' Championship, and he's going to be a very difficult driver for Nicholas Goen to pass. Not just because he's almost invisible in the fog, but because he's a great defensive driver.
A great defensive driver indeed is what he is, but Nicholas Goen's going to make a run. Let's see this crash again, though. I want to see this from a different angle if we can. And they're going to come through these corners, and yep, just a... Oh, not yet. Yep, there's the hit right there. There's the first hit at least. So this is a pretty aggressive driving, and maybe a bit of a payback hit. I don't want to accuse anyone, but that was definitely one thing led to another.
And just nobody lifting, a little bit of full contact sports car racing, and I think a bunch of drivers realizing that none of us are going to give this up, and we're all going to take each other out. And unfortunately, the innocent party there was Craig Bray, who was third in line there, did absolutely nothing wrong, had nothing to do with that incident, and unfortunately was collected, and he's down pit lane. So bad luck for the Moradness driver. His promising day has come to an end very, very quickly. Nicholas Goen not close enough to make the move into turn 1. And if you're wondering why that Pelshaw low battle is separated, that's because that last moment we saw when Bray and Mon and some of those damaged cars were trying to come back to the pits, Campbell and Pelshaw and Lowe actually caught them. They caught their first bit of LMP2 traffic, and Lowe did not have a lot of luck there, lost a lot of time behind one of those damaged cars. Now he's got a much more difficult job trying to catch Pat Pelshaw for P2.
Yeah, what's that comment we made during the last race about sometimes the lap traffic gives you something and sometimes it takes away from you. In the case of Lowe, it just took away a little bit there. But let's take a look at this replay of the traffic here and see what's going to happen.
Yeah, this is where
they catch him.
Yep, there's Nathan Mon. And you can just feel it. You can time it. All that time being lost through the final corner. A GTP so much faster than an LMP2 car through there. And then all that time lost down the front stretch after that.
You could almost feel the frustration, couldn't you? You could feel the tension, the anger, possibly a little bit of raised voice in his own head. It was move, please move, as you saw that replay happen there. And that moment back here, P7, P8, we saw this earlier. Andrew Wood, Nicholas Goen. And they are battling here pretty close together. Now we're going to add in Joshua Chinsky in that Indianapolis paint scheme into this battle.
Yeah, the pride of Indianapolis himself. If we can get I don't know if we're even going to be able to see it through the fog, but Chinsky's been running that livery all month long. He's finally able to, because we're not disallowed from talking about IndyCar and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway anymore. We can actually see this car and see those logos. And if Doug Bowles is watching, I'm sure he's pretty happy seeing Joshua Chinsky right now.
Yeah, I would be happy. That's a beautiful paint scheme. Look as it goes around here. Catch some kind of glimpse of it through the fog here. That's a great job here by Joshua. It said Indianapolis native, Indiana native. So always happy. Oh, it's always fun when you get to race your home track. It's just something special about even racing it, much less winning it. That'd be a whole nother level.
And if there are... Oh, Chinsky says... You giving me TV time? I'm coming down pit lane. He's going to get out of the traffic. He saw that he was getting caught, and he'll kick off the pit cycle just past halfway in this race. Kwok Nin has done the same thing. He's brought that Acura down pit lane, as has the number 64 of Andrew Wood. As he makes his pit stop, though, I do want to say, I'll be back in Indianapolis from Wednesday to Monday, so if there's any PRL drivers in Indianapolis over the next week or so, tell me, and we'll do a PRL meetup sometime. We'll do it some night in downtown or on Mass Ave or something. I know that Chinsky will be there, Ted Lowendick will be there, Nick McLaughlin will be there, Race Spot's own DJ Clark will be there now that he officially works for IndyCar. You'll see a lot of PRL faces at the Indy 500 this year, and if you are also one of them, let us know, and we'll organize something.
Yeah, maybe get your arm signed by Joy Tebben.
It's possible. Could expense you a pork tenderloin.
Ooh, I might go to Indianapolis just for that.
I did get to go to the Mug and Bun, which I was pretty excited about. It was kind of disappointing food-wise, because it is just like a frozen tenderloin patty, but if you're ever in Indianapolis, I do recommend it. Roadside, basically just a stand. You got picnic tables out there. It's good vibes.
Did they have everything bagels?
They did not have everything bagels at the Mug and Bun. I think that was invented probably about 50 years too late.
Ah, okay, fair enough. All right, well, here's Rob Campbell and Alex Crow, 8th and 9th on the board in the LMP2s. And nice battle. You know, I've noticed we've dropped the name Lord from his name. Did someone like battle him and take away his territory? Did he have like a quest that we don't know about?
It's possible. Did he get? He might have got kicked out. He might have just committed a. Did he commit a crime?
That's pretty messed up if you get kicked out of your own territory. That's got to that's a mutiny, right?
Because that's what happens in the House of Lords in the UK. If you break the rules of the house, you get kicked out. So I don't know. Maybe he broke the code somehow. He insulted another member of the House of Lords. He told David Cameron that he was dodgy or something.
I just imagine it's like a real-time strategy game. You just wake up at 3 a.m. and there's just someone attacking basically.
That's possible. It could be like Sean Campbell, Balloons Tower Defense. Some monkey came in and popped his balloons.
That could be, yes. As someone who's never played Bloom's Tower Defense, I'm trying to imagine, but I mean, I've played other tower defenses, so I get it. But speaking of tower defensing and defending, there's some defense into that corner. My goodness, they almost touched right there, Joey. And wow, and then he decided to go pit afterwards.
Yeah, Alex Crow trying to pop Rob Campbell's balloon, unable to do it on track, and he says, you know what, if I can't do it on track, I'm going to try and do it in pit lane. do it Floyd Kerr style, and he'll bring his way down. You see the GTP leaders flying by now. Campbell's passed, Pelshaw's passed, and Dayton Lowe's passed. These guys are now going to be dealing with both a little bit of inter-GTP traffic and some LMP2 traffic as well coming up. You saw Nicholas Schwartz in the foreground, or rather Bradley Holly in the foreground. He's made his pit stop in GTP, and a couple of others are still getting a little bit held up. Stephen Verity is having a little bit of trouble in some of that traffic. He's a little bit further back, but we're hearing that some of those LMP2 cars that did not, well, not LMP2 cars, rather, Jeff Evans has been caught by Stephen Verity. Jeff is technically a lap down because he's made his pit stop. Stephen's still on the lead lap, and Stephen is not very happy with how Jeff is driving, apparently.
No, oftentimes whether you are in the right or the wrong, if you are a lead lap car, there's this mentality that the lap cars are just going to move, get out of the way, you know, make way for me. And so when they don't, it'll be a frustrating moment here for Stephen Verity. But you're right, when it all comes back around, Jeff will not be a lap down. Speaking of pitting, Jack Hedgecock, your LMP2 points leader, is now down pit road.
Yeah, and Jack has had a very interesting season. He's looking like he's going to win the championship. Pelshaw's down pit lane in GTP, but Hedgecox is looking like he's going to win the championship. He's got a 30-point lead. He hasn't been as dominant as he's been in the past, though. Those first two seasons in LMP2 went pretty differently. Season 1, totally dominant. We basically knew he was going to be the champion from week 1. Season 2, he was dominant, but he was also co-dominant with Daniel Zeggers. Both of them won similar amounts of races, and both of them were head and shoulders away from the rest of the field. This season, though, there's been a lot of contenders. Hedgecox has won races. Caruso has won races. Alex Crow won a race. Zach Kerr won a race. He's not been as dominant, but he's still been consistent, and it could very well win him his third LMP2 championship in a row.
Well, remember, you know, part of that question mark when Hedgecox came early in the season in that race where he got spun around and finished almost dead last or close to it. And at that moment, we weren't sure what his future was going to hold in the points, but he has since rebounded and done really well with that. So we're excited to see, and of course, these drivers finish the season next week at Misano, a track that's newer to the service. And here's a down pit road here. I missed there's that black and red. That was Sean Campbell. We've not talked to him about much because he's so far ahead, but here's down pit road. That's Dayton Lowe, locked it up right before the line, Joey. So he must have been speeding coming in.
I think he'll be okay. I hope he doesn't get a penalty for that. John Rice, though, will get to lead a couple of laps, so his contingent of fans, we know they tune in on Monday nights. They're going to be pretty happy. The Fiercely Forward driver getting some extra time, getting some laps led. Stephen Verity staying around for a couple of extra laps, which will be even more frustrating for him because Jeff Evans has already made his pit stop. He's still out there, and he's between Stephen Verity and John Rice. Here is Stephen Verity, currently P2. This is the frustrating thing, though, about not catching LMP2 traffic. You're just catching intra-GTP traffic. Jeff Evans is basically just as fast as Stephen Verity. They're not different in terms of speed or in terms of lap time, really, but Verity definitely feels like he's getting held up that little bit. He's just not getting held up enough that Jeff is going to feel the need to pull over.
Well, the interesting part is when you watch this camera shot live as they're going through the corners, I don't see it as much as I thought we were going to based on how annoyed it sounded like Verity was that he wasn't getting by. I mean, Jeff Evans is not slow per se. He's not holding him up. He's not braking in front of him. So this might just be a mentality. It's a racer. Hold on, where's Jeff Evans wide?
Elshaw has been jumped by Dayton Lowe. We missed that in the pit cycle, but as Sean Campbell gained 6 seconds on these guys, Dayton Lowe also gained a couple of seconds, and now he's on defensive mode, trying to hold Pelshaw back into turn 7, though, around the outside. Pat Pelshaw's not going to be in third for long. What a move from Pat to take P2 back.
What a crazy move. What a dangerous move. Could easily have caught the grass there and spun that vehicle around, but does not. Gets back ahead of Dayton Lowe. Now back up here in P5, he will be here, and of course that's P5 will cycle around a couple times as we see more people come through pit. I believe it's Verity and John Rice left to pit here,
and Schwartz as well. He's got a couple of more moments until he makes his stop. We're still waiting for stops in the majority of the LMP2 field. Those fuel tanks, as is tradition, kind of go very, very long. Still waiting on Kerr, Lehman, Wallace, and Chinsky. We're almost 3 wide into turn 1 with Crow, Wood, and Goen. That wasn't even almost 3 wide. That was 3 wide for a moment. Wood hangs on. Crow slides it around, though, and he'll still be side by side with Nick Goen.
I thought Goldman was going to pick up some of the livery or the paint from Crow with how close they were there. I thought he was going to kind of put a little stamp on the car, but everyone made it through okay. Now we're down this back straight here, and they're going to get a bit of a draft and try to make a move to the left here. Let's see if he can get the inside run of the corner. He'll try to outbrake him, and he will. Oh, tight again. Good leaf.
A little bit of contact between these two, side by side through the S's. Still side by side. Goen takes the inside back. It's a switchback of a sector, and it ends with Nicholas Goen having the inside. Crow is going to have a tough job of making this happen, and look who's on the scene behind. Pat Pelshaw and Dayton Lowe. The GTP drivers are trying to lap these guys as they're trying to battle for their own positions. Rob Campbell is going to be forced to stay out on track. If he wanted to pit, he's not going to be allowed. Pelshaw, though, gets a big buffer. Lowe is held up behind Rob Campbell out of the final corner. That's going to lose him a ton of time. And now Goen and Crow going at it again into turn one.
And when you're Pelshaw, anytime you get around...
And there he goes.
There he goes again. Oh, man, the contact... I'm going to your contact again. So anytime you're Pelshaw, anytime you get around a lower traffic, it's always difficult. But when you're doing it when they're battling for position, they don't feel the need to let you by because they're battling for something, and it becomes even harder to do. We're seeing this great battle here. That's still Crow right there with the Fierce C4 machine of John Rice right there trying to get around. That's not John Rice. Sorry, that's...
Dayton Lowe.
Dayton Lowe. Sorry, John Rice is on pit road. I was looking up at the ticker and trying to talk, and those two names got mixed together.
Dayton Lowe's going to be very mad right now because he was in contention still. He was holding the back of Pat Pelshaw, and now after getting stuck behind Goen, after getting stuck behind Crow, and in the very near future getting stuck behind Andrew Wood, his hopes of finishing P2 may just be over. Unfortunately, Stephen Verity's fears have gotten even worse as he's had to tow it down pit lane. Jeff Evans as well is down pit lane again. I don't know if those two were related. I don't think they were, but we are going to try and load those up. Here is Stephen Verity through the final sector. I think he wanted to pit Derek, and Jeff Evans was there on the scene.
Wow.
Evans trying to stay out, Verity trying to pit, Bradley Holly or Nicholas Short says, "Hi, I'm coming through," but tempers flaring, and an awkward situation on pit entry ends both of those guys' races.
That's awkward indeed. That's, upon the first view, it's hard to really have a comment there and have a strong opinion, but there's definitely some shenanigans going on in that moment that need to be addressed and looked at because that was just all kinds of, in that moment. But here's a four-way battle. Andrew Wood, Nicholas Goen, Alex Crow, Rob Campbell, 8, 9, 10, 11. Look how close they all are. You can throw a blanket on them, but Alex Crow, way wide. Man, Alex Crow is getting really good at that whole way wide thing and really scaring the whatever out of me.
Yeah, use that blanket to wipe the grass off of that white car, I think is what you're going to need to do. The majority of the LMP2 field is now down pit lane. Zach Kerr has completed his service. Caleb Lehman has done the same. Chip Michaels has done the same. And now we wait for the blend. I think Caruso is still going to be comfortably in second. Kerr will comfortably hold on to the overall lead. And Hedgecock cycles into third there. So once Luke Wallace and Joshua Chinsky make their final stops, I think that'll be our order for the podium. In the very short term, though, Nicholas Goen is going to try and go for another move into turn one. Doesn't seem to have the straight line speed, though, on Wood. Wood is pulling away, and into turn one, he's going to hold on easily.
Holds on very easily. Saw Wood get the back right tire up in the air there, but all is good. And now they're going to come here and start to work through the turns of 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I think 5 and 6 probably be the most difficult corners on the course right there, and then to get down that straightaway.
And this is, as we say every week, an open setup series. But just as I say that, Andrew Wood opens up the door to let Goen by. I think a slowdown that we didn't see originally. He has to serve it at the last possible moment. Lets Goen through and almost lets Alex Crow get through as well. Yeah,
that car just snapped to the sides. Obviously, he was just trying to get out of the way and serve that slowdown out of the racing line so that he didn't have to have any further penalties for doing so. Now they're already almost back around to the straight again, a couple more corners here. How fast this place is, Joey, like it's just, it looks big for some reason. It's a humongous facility, but this road course is fast and quick.
Crow, though, feeling the dirty air, and as I was saying before Andrew Wood had to serve that slowdown, this is an open setup series, so you don't have the same setup as seemingly the same car in front of you. They're all spec cars. They're all Dallara P217 LMP2 cars. But you can decide, I want a little bit more straight line speed. I want a little bit more downforce. At a place like this, straight line speed is very important with those 2 long straights, but you do still want a little bit of downforce for the middle sectors, and Andrew Wood clearly going for the low downforce setup, very fast in a straight line.
Yeah, you can decide a lot of things. You can decide get in the car and do some adjustments like the throttle arc and how fast that thing wants to get right on the pedal and right down to the floor. Lots of things to be decided in the LMP2 here, so we'll wait and see who has the right setup. As well, about 8 minutes left, Joey. By this time, it's really flown by in this race. I feel like I looked up a minute ago. We were at 30 minutes.
Yeah, I was thinking short grid, 26 cars, maybe isn't going to be that exciting of a race, but the Indianapolis road course, underrated, I'd say, in terms of racing action. Just because of this, the dive into the final corner. Alex Crowe goes Santino Ferrucci style, sends it on Andrew Wood, and makes it stick. Rob Campbell tries to take advantage while he gets the opportunity. Can't quite do it, but that was a send and a half into turn 12 from Alex Crowe, and he gets it done.
Gets it done indeed, but at a very dangerous manner of doing it. It could have ended as poorly as well as it went. See that yellow and black fiercely forward, barely in camera shot there through the foggy camera. And then you got this 7, 8, 9, 10 of LMP2s behind that GTP. So Gowen's doing a great job of holding off Alex Crowe. But man, with the moves that Crowe is making, Crowe's looking to get to P7.
He could keep himself maybe on the precipice of being alive in the championship. There's been so much action that we haven't got to talk about that very much, but in the Drivers' Championship, if things finish as they are, Alex Caruso will get a little bit closer to Jack Hedgecox. If he finishes second, Caruso should get 52 points, if I'm not mistaken, and Hedgecox will get 48. So the LMP2 Drivers' Championship will be separated by 23 points next week. It's a pretty big margin, especially with a short field like this, but if there's a DNF, if there's a crash from Hedgecox, which could happen, it's a new track, anything can happen, could even rain, who knows, probably not, but who knows, the championship could still be wide open as long as it's mathematically possible.
Yeah, and the good news for these drivers, although it's a newer track on the service, that being Masano, where we race next week, is these drivers will get all week long of iRacing official races to practice and get some runs in there. Here's a nice pass here. This is an attempted pass for P7.
Around the outside for Alex Crowe. He made it happen a couple of laps ago on Andrew Wood, and yet again, the outside is Alex Crowe land. And he makes it happen on Nicholas Gowen. Gowen fights back, though. Crowe doesn't get the exit he needs, coming through turn 3 and up around through turn 4. Side by side through the chicane is exceptionally difficult. Gowen leaves room. Crowe's all the way out to the grass.
Wow.
You have to be careful out there. You can get a slowdown if you're too deep out there. I think he's going to be okay. He's going to try and outbrake Gowen into turn 7 at the end of Holman Boulevard. And there goes Gowen with a big slide. Opens the door for Andrew Wood. Crowe gets through, and he's able to pace the 2 guys behind him.
That fact he got so wide there and held onto that car was crazy. You don't typically see a driver in a car get that wide on that pavement back there, you know, for good reasons, so to speak. Typically it's because you've lost the car. To see him get out there and control that car and make that pass is insane. Wow, that's a move of the race as far as I'm concerned.
Now Gowen, Wood, and Campbell, the battle for the last 3 spots in the top 10. Which order are they going to be in? They're not going to be fighting to finish in the top 10 as long as they keep it on the track. Chip Michaels is about 14 seconds back. Look who's hunting them down, though. The Acura of Bradley Holly. If I'm not mistaken, it could be Nicholas Schwartz. Couldn't tell you the difference. The fog is too bright. But this is what we saw, Derek. Look at Crowe. There were 2 wheels on the grass. You have to be very careful doing that. If you get 1 wheel on the grass, you're spinning. If you get 2 wheels on the grass, you might be okay.
If you sniff the grass, you might be spinning. And wow, look how wide he got even through that corner there. I mean, it's just, oh man, the fact he made the pass, and really the thing that helps him make the pass, Joey, is look at the battle behind him. That's what helps him really cement the move, is that they were so busy battling behind him that he just got a little bit better speed through the next couple corners and made it happen for himself. That's incredible. That's an iRacing top 10 right there as far as I'm concerned.
Haven't talked much about our leaders in LMP2 because they've been having such a quiet day, but just like at Spa a couple of weeks ago, it's been 1-2 nearly all day long for Hyperion Racing. Zach Kerr has been totally dominant, and his teammate Alex Caruso has been holding down the fort, but things have been getting a little bit closer over the last couple of moments. Jack Hedgecox has brought that gap down below a second now. There's only a couple more laps left in this race, so I don't know if he's catching him fast enough, but the battle for P2 is certainly on.
Yeah, and of course for Jack, this is important because if he gets around Caruso, now we go from maybe losing a couple points to maybe gaining a couple points for next week, which would make less pressure on Jack for next week here in the PRL finale. And I'm just going to kind of come on around. And really about the same gap, 8 to 9 tenths of a second, but it is slowly dropping. Every time, 7 tenths of a second. Jack is on a run here.
And again, a little bit faster, but it's only those little bits. It's great to be faster. It's great to be faster by a couple of thousandths. It's not great if you want to actually make a position, because if you're only faster by about half a tenth every lap, if you're going to make up 8 tenths, that takes 16 laps to do, and we only have 4 laps to go. So he's got to start building up a little bit more time, and there goes all of his time through the final sector. Falls out of second range. Jack Hedgecock's not going to be too happy with that final sector.
No, it fell way up, fell about 3 tenths of a second off, so out of that 1 second gap. And here is now Campbell and Andrew Wood now battling. Oh, look at that, man, that is right there side by side now. This is going to be for P9 and 10. Campbell currently has the lead. Wood, I thought was going to dig it in there, but thought better of it. Now they'll come out to the final corners and get ready to make their way up onto the famous straightaway here.
And welcome Nicholas Schwartz to the party as well. He's going to play a role into turn 1. Should be pretty easy for him to get by. Wood, though, with that straight line speed, blows by Campbell to the outside. And Campbell spins. Campbell spins on the inside. Nathan Ray drives around. Wood was not later on the brakes than Campbell with that lower downforce, but Campbell still outbrakes himself and spins it around in turn 1.
Yeah, I wonder if that had something to do with maybe that little bit of air or draft that was involved in that car getting by that sort of picked up his speeds a little bit and changed what he'd been doing all race. But yeah, spun it around about halfway or a quarter of the way and then got it collected and moving on again here. Let's see it again on a replay. Watch this 3 wide here. Car's going to get in front of him. Oh, nope, there's going to be contact. I take back everything I said. A little bit of contact.
A little bit of contact, maybe a little bit of target fixation as well with the GTPs coming through. Got a little bit messy there. But Sean Campbell, we haven't talked much about him all day, as has been the case many times this season, but he came back. He was saving fuel in the first stint, I think, and then a 6-second shorter pit stop and starts to run away with things at the end here. He's going to have 1 more lap to go at the line, and something we haven't yet mentioned today, Derek, is that Sean Campbell, with the position he's in right now, will clinch this championship. He's just got to survive for 1 more lap.
Yep, this will definitely secure him the points. He came in basically winning tonight, I think up like, was a 64 or 65 points on the title tonight. So short of really an unfortunate night for Sean tonight, he was going to lock up this title basically by finishing the race in so many words. So he'll come around here 1 more time, and he's had a dominant season. The only race he didn't win is the one he didn't attend.
That is exactly right. Pat Pelshaw did get to have a little bit of glory last week, but Barney the Flagman, standing in for Aaron Likens, waves the white flag, and Sean Campbell will have 1 more lap before he's crowned champion 1 race early. Zach Kerr in the background is going to take the white flag as well in LMP2. He's had just as dominant of a run today, and if Zach was here for the full season, we might be talking about him like Sean Campbell as well, because today and Spa 2 weeks ago, those were his only 2 races this season, and Zach Kerr's on his way to win both of those in dominant fashion.
I think what's going to be a victory of a different sort today, Joey, as we're watching the final lap here for Sean Campbell. For Pat Pelshaw, we'll be looking at that gap. It's only 9 seconds. I don't say that in a demeaning way. I say, hey, look, it's down to 9 seconds. We've seen Sean Campbell have way, way bigger gaps this season.
By the way, I should mention, oh my goodness, Nathan Ray in the meantime, to the inside, to the outside, sweeping around Nicholas Schwartz in turn 1, and loops himself around to give Nicholas Schwartz the spot back. Absolute drama in the battle for P6 in turn 1, but no drama at all. Out of the final corner, Sean Campbell showed up to race in the car that he competes in at the top level of sim racing, and it has been a perfect season so far. 8 races, 8 wins, and for the 3rd time in the PRL, Sean Campbell is your champion. And Zach Kerr, a couple of moments behind, taking tons of glory for himself as well. The Hyperion driver, dominant here at Indy. I should say it wasn't quite as dominant at Spa. Him and his teammate Alex Caruso put on an absolutely insane show, But Zach Kerr says, I can win two types of ways. I can win in a battle, and I can win in dominant fashion. And Kerr gets that glory for himself as well. Caruso and Hedgecock's P2 and P3, they're going to be fighting for the championship next week in LMP2. Sean Campbell's not going to be fighting for the championship, though, because he's now got a championship in 3 different species of PRL racing. He's got a championship in an LMP3 car, he's got a championship in a GT4 car, and now he's got a championship in a GTP car. The battle for P2 and GTP, we're going to be following that in the championship next week. Holly's still alive, Schwartz is still alive, Nathan Ray's still alive, and Pat Pelshaw is going to be very alive as well.
Yeah, great job by both Pelshaw and Kerr, both putting on great performances here. We'll see a few more cars come around here who need to complete their lap as the time is expiring here on this race. But Joe, it was a great race, a fairly clean race overall with some contact here and there. But by the way, that's Jeff Evans back on track. I just realized that. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I think he's got to finish the race. Yeah, he's going to be the last finisher. So everybody, Jeff coming around the final corner. Unfortunately, the Acura team couldn't quite find an extra nose to put on that car. But all the same, 10 laps down, Jeff Evans is going to bring it to the line. And everybody, round of applause coming out at just the right moment. Jeff Evans is going to finish this race. But what a day at Indianapolis. 45 minutes in the books. And a very gray victory lane awaits Sean Campbell. I don't think he's going to care too much, as we do have the final results officially now. Campbell, Pelshaw, and Lowe will be your podium. And well done Dayton Lowe there in the meantime, getting very close to Pelshaw after losing all that time in traffic. Second place might have been a conversation with one more lap. John Rice ended up P4, Bradley Holly rounded out the top 5, Schwartz, Ray, Sonadakis, and Kwok Nin rounded out the lead lap finishers. Darian Roy got himself into a little bit of trouble. He ended up 1 lap down. Jeff Evans, an awkward moment with Stephen Verity. Verity trying to pit, Jeff trying to stay out, ends up with both of them in the used car lot, 11 and 12 laps down respectively. In LMP2 though, Zach Kerr returns to LMP2 racing in the PRL and says, this week I'm going to totally dominate. Alex Caruso finishes second, keeps his championship hopes alive. It'll be 23 points separating him and Jack Hedgecock's coming into next week. Probably going to have to hope for some trouble for Hedgecock's, but crazier things have happened. Just remember last season with Hedgecock's and Daniel Zeggers, how crazy that was. Lehman and Wallace rounded out the top 5, and Joshua Chinsky, P6, SRT, 4-5-6. Great result for them. Alex Crow had a very spectacular day. He ends it in P7. Nicholas Goen was P8. Andrew Wood lost a couple of spots, but was defensive all day long in P9. And poor old Rob Campbell, a spin on one of the final laps, drops him down to P10. A couple more cars, though. Chip Michaels was the last one in the lead lap. Nathan Mon ended up 1 lap down. John Krauser and Craig Bray both involved in that big accident. And Daniel Trinka, just around for practice, getting himself a little bit of lap time. A little bit of time on track and practice, not actually racing. But we do have our drivers and our winners and our champions. No Sean Campbell. I'm going to go yell at him to come back. But in the meantime, I'll let Derek Watson talk with our LMP2 winner, Zach Kerr.
Well, Zach, you are 2 for 2 on the season. You won a couple weeks ago at Spa, and now here at the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So congrats on the win. What was it like out there tonight?
It was mainly a tire saving game, because you could slide the tires and you would just lose any pace you had, which was the whole thing of us trying to keep it at the front and not slide the car.
So up in the booth, we had a little bit of talk towards the start of the race about the weather tonight. Obviously, it didn't rain, but it certainly looked like it could. What was it? Was the visibility? Was it harder out there? Did that change anything for you?
It was colder than what I tested in. I tested in 3 or 4 Celsius warmer, so my set was more for warmer conditions, which made it easier in the cold.
There you go. Great on that. Well, so you're 2 for 2. You've won Spa. You've won Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Are you coming back next week for Misano?
Probably not. I don't have Mazzano, but I might be back for Belle for the last round.
Next week is the last round for Misano.
No Belle?
Am I confused?
No Belle Isle.
Yeah, no Belle Isle. That's for Misano. Okay.
PRL season ends 1 week earlier.
Well, I guess that'll be it for me.
Okay. Are you coming back next season?
I'll have to wait and see. Depends on work schedule.
There you go. Well, that's a great way to end it, on a wait and see. That's what we call a cliffhanger in the business. Well, Zach, listen, great job tonight. Great win. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All right, that is Zach Kerr, winner, number 16, LMP2.
I'll make sure he does some Belle Isle racing and official at least. Get some I rating out of that. But we do have our race winner and our champion. Sean Campbell is here. First of all, I know you're just as disappointed as I am. All this fog, all this smog and grayness and no rain. What was that all about?
I don't know. I don't
Why couldn't it have poured today?
I saw the fog come up in qualifying, and I was like, "Oh, it might rain." And I look at the weather; it's 0% for the next 4 hours. That was disappointing.
Well, with this win today, with your 31st win in the PRL, you have officially clinched your 3rd championship, and in your 3rd different car. There was an LMP3 championship, a GT4 championship, and now a GTP championship. What's next?
I don't know, man. I'm getting back into prototypes as of recent from my iRacing history. It's been a while, but it's where I've always wanted to be, I think. So I might do more of this. I might not. I don't know. Maybe NASCAR again.
Yeah, I was going to say, get you back in the Grand National Series. That would be exciting.
Yeah.
Lots of ovals this season.
Those are fun cars to drive.
And also GR86 and MX5, new series for next season, or returning series for next season. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
But until then, congrats on yet another championship. I feel like 3 is less than I thought you had, but maybe more in the future. And we'll see you probably next week.
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully. Thanks. Do you own Misano?
Well, I own Misano. Yeah, it's a great track. Everybody should have
good. We'll see you next week then.
All right. Peace.
Bye-bye. Sean Campbell, your champion. Good to talk to him yet again. And that's good. That's good that we will see him at Misano. I'm glad he owns that. But we'll keep it going in GTP because we were supposed to start here, and we'll talk with 2nd place. Yet again, Pat Pelshaw is with Derek Watson.
Well, Pat, we did this interview last week where you had won the race without Sean Campbell here. Tonight you finished 2nd to him, but it felt like you kept the cap closer than you have before. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I guess there's been some progression since the beginning of the season, and I'm pretty happy to see that. My goal was to get below 10 seconds behind him tonight, so I think we achieved that. I think he gained a lot in the pit stop, but I gotta give a shout out to Dayton tonight. Man, he had pace. Like, I'm surprised, and it was a good battle. I had to fight for it.
All right, well, great run here tonight. You know, Whataback Racing tells me you're the guy who really works in the setups, and they're really proud of you for what you're doing. So we go into Misano next week. What's the goal there?
I don't know. I mean, just get the best result as possible. There's no denying that Sean is the clear favorite. I'm not sure, but I think he clinched championship tonight. So yeah, congrats to him. I mean, he deserves it. Like, he's been dominant this season, and yeah, man, he was untouchable. Not even in reach of being able to fight him. So yeah, it's been a dominant season for him.
It has. So it's been great for you. You're bringing down that gap, and maybe next week we'll see you get a little closer. Maybe, you know, get on there and just battle him side by side for a bit.
Yeah, for sure, we'll give it a shot. And yeah, shout out to the Whataback guys, man. They're doing great this season. Championship, team championship in the lead. So yeah, they've been good teammates.
All right, Pat. Well, listen, great job tonight, and we'll see you next week.
All right, thank you, guys.
Pelshaw, P2 in GTP. And now let's head back down to LMP2. We got Alex Caruso here. And Alex, P2, ahead of Jack Hedgecock. That's a couple of extra points coming into the championship finale next week. How are you feeling?
Good. I mean, I'm pretty certain that I don't really have a chance at the championship. I think Jack is pretty far ahead at this point. So, yeah, I'm not really too concerned with the championship at the moment, but it's nice to perform well in these races and always nice to finish ahead of your competitors.
Next week is sort of a wild card. Just like we started the season at a new track, we finished the season at a new track at Misano. Have you driven it at all yet? Have you gotten any laps in, or are you going to be driving it for the first time next week?
I don't actually own it yet, so no, I haven't gotten any laps yet. If I do end up doing that race, it'll probably be a little bit last minute. It's starting to overlap a little bit with our prep for Majors 24, which is coming up really quick, and Hyperion's got a lot of entries in that. So I may be with my team just trying to make sure that all the cars are well prepped for that event. But if I do make it next week, then I'm not sure what the pace is going to look like.
Somebody send this guy $15 so we can buy the track. Alex Caruso, P2 today. I hope we'll see you next week, but if we don't, congrats on P2 tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Alex Caruso, P2. I'll finish off the LMP2 podium as well. Jack Hedgecox may have finished P3, may have finished behind Caruso, but next week, by my calculations, it'll be a 23-point championship lead for you. Does that feel pretty comfortable?
Yeah, sure does. Pretty much accomplished what I wanted this week. Just minimizing my points loss, and say P3 is pretty good for going into next week for sure.
So have you driven Misano at all, or is it going to be a total learning experience for you too?
I have driven it back in the week 13 stuff, but not in any officials. I'm guessing it's going to be pretty hard to pass. So as long as I do, I say I'm pretty deep. I've driven it in ACC in that, but nothing in terms of officials for iRacing. So from what I'm thinking, I'm probably just qualify pretty well and then just driving home. Really, I'm not looking for. I'm sure Alex and Zach are gonna be pretty quick next week if they're there. So, but I don't got to worry about that. So, just looking to bring it home really.
Well, there we go. Congrats on another podium, and we'll see you next week to see if it'll be 3 championships in a row for you.
Appreciate it, guys. Y'all have a great night.
Jack Hedgecox rounding out the podium in LMP2 and rounding out the podium in GTP. Derek Watson is with Mr. Dayton Lowe.
Well, Dayton, what a great run tonight, P3. In fact, I don't know if you heard, but when we talked to Pat Pelshaw a moment ago, he said he was pleasantly happy with the pace you had tonight, was really happy to see you competitive. How did you feel out there on the track tonight?
I felt pretty good. I actually quite like Indianapolis, so I was having a lot of fun out there. There's some things I need to work on, especially my my braking in traffic, but other than that, I'm pretty happy with this result.
Yeah, P3 feels great here. So we have next week at Misano. This has been an up and down question for everyone so far in interviews. Do you own Misano and or do you like Misano?
I do not own Misano, but having driven it in Assetto Corsa Competizione, it's all right. It's a circuit, so I'm just gonna go in blind essentially, but we'll still practice.
All right. Well, listen. Well, P3 tonight. I have one last question to ask you. Who did you dismember to get those racing gloves? Because I saw the human flesh skin gloves. Is there a story there? Are you allowed to tell that story? Has the statute of limitation passed yet?
The statute of limitation passed yesterday. I saw some dude with a cool tweed suit. I was like, that's mine. And the hands were kind of just left over.
All right, there you go. Well, listen, we're great run tonight, Dayton, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you very much. You have a good one.
There you go. That's Dayton Lowe finishing 3rd in GTPs.
And that is going to be the end of the day for us tonight. Next week, Misano will be the setting for the GTP LMP2 series. Very new track. So new that we don't even have a preview for it yet. So get ready to see that for the first time next week. The first PRL race in competition for Misano. But we'll look forward to that. We'll look forward to we'll look forward to LMP3-GT4 having their championship finale as well over at Spa. Be big times in the PRL next week. But until then, I've been Joey Tebben. Derek Watson's been Derek Watson. Our producer's been Dustin Alice. And until we see you next time, so long.